Howdy everybody, welcome back to College COD here. We're here with, surprise, more CCL action. Getting to our second set of matches with Rutgers and SIUE, I believe, is what's coming up ahead of us. We've also got Newberry and CSUN to talk about. A lot of matches as things kind of progress, Sandy, mate, as teams look to try and keep their hopes and dreams of making it to LAN alive.
Yeah, again, I mean, all of our broadcast matches, whether there was a schedule afoot somewhere, everything kind of got pushed back as Rutgers had a little bit of a power fiasco going on at their facility. So everything kind of pushed back a little bit. I believe that later on down the road, maybe we might be able to get a look at St. Edwards, but regardless of the matter yet, Newberry, CSUN, at least that's the matchup on our docket for us here, Brody. We just got done seeing Newberry get the floor wiped with them at least 2 out of the 3 maps versus St. Clair. So this matchup here, you really do feel like for both CSUN and Newberry, this is going to be a must-win because St. Clair are coming different today.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like, I think, and again, bias caster, I don't care. I think that St. Clair are probably going to be the team to go 2-0 in this group. I think we kind of knew that coming into it, just given kind of like the Titanic team that St. Clair are, right? Yep. So, and I think that was definitely kind of exemplified there in that matchup versus Newberry. So, again, absolutely, yeah, this is a must-win match for both of these two teams because you go 0-2 in this group. You're in Sunto, you do not get a look at the playoff match for, well, let's give you a little refresh to right next discussion today of Newberry's roster. And again, we talk about KB, Cell, Freaky, and Div. I think specifically, we did see some great moments coming out of Els. I think in that last matchup, I mean, there were so many moments where he almost got a 3-piece that would have saved the game. Freaky also, I think, had a real kind of important contribution to the team there in that one. I think this team has promise, right? It's just making sure they kind of deliver on that moving forward in this series.
I think it mostly just comes down to consistency, right? Because, I mean, we even got to see it there in Hotel. Great decisions were being made. They were finding kills on rotation, but when the hill actually popped, they kind of faltered, especially going at the tail end of the first set and throughout the entirety of the second, if I'm being candid. But, yeah, I mean, we got to see, you know, Cells, Freaky, obviously delivering the goods. KB was maybe not showing out the flashiest gameplay, but he was definitely in the right place at the right time with that Vaznev in hand, coupled that along with what Diff was putting together with a lot of these different routes. This team absolutely has what it takes to take down some teams.
Alrighty, well, that's a look at the Newberry roster. As we said, they didn't have the greatest of times versus St. Clair. Now they're on a date here with CSUN. This is Polo Tournament. Dylan and Ruben. The question then, Andy, is can this CSUN roster get that victory that they desire?
California State University, Northridge, the Matadors. I don't know how many Matadors, honestly, would get inside of the pin with a Wolf, but I guess you really don't have any choice. 4 Matadors versus 4 Wolves. Did not have that on my docket, but yeah, I mean, for CSUN, I feel like for this team in particular, coming through from the region that they were playing out continuously, you know, Matt just versus the Dust Devils, they were able to eke out that win. They did lose to Oklahoma Christian. Don't act too surprised. And they played Texas State a little closer than I'm sure some would have imagined. But when it came down to playoffs, I mean, the way that they were able to beat Texas State, get the revenge match versus them, and then also went up against St. Edwards, not once but twice, lost both of those matchups. I feel like there was a certain amount of respect that were earned from the Matadors. So Polo, Torment, Dylan, Ruben, the task is still at hand. You have a very tough matchup ahead of you here to see what you can put together as the postseason trickles on.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting as well that they did have a relatively tough group, tough region to go through, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, the Western region was stacked, right? You've got Oklahoma Christian, the Aggies in there, at St. Edwards. Like, those are all teams that finished ahead of CSUN. So it's a tough one, I think, to crack for sure. But here's a look at kind of the head-to-head, the records across. And again, you kind of have these immediate strengths and weaknesses coming out from both of the roster. Ironically enough, I don't know if there's actually any irony in there, they are relatively speaking the same, right? CSUN 17-6 in hardpoint. That has been their bread and butter so far in this season of CCL. 9-8 in Search and Destroy and 7-9 in Control. Not so much. And on the other side, again, things not all that different. We already talked a little bit earlier on about how Control has been mostly the weakness for Newberry.
Yeah, I think, again, what mostly stands out to me, not only just the hard point, we'll get more into why that matters when we talk about the best of 5 map set, but it's the playoff record. Again, the only 2 playoff matchups that were actually lost for the Matadors were against the Hilltoppers, and they played in those hard points a respectfully close amount. They also took them to a round 11 search and destroy on El Asilo, so there is a lot of promise that can come through here for the Matadors versus this Newberry Esports roster. It's hard to really gauge who's honestly the underdog here because we got to see a little bit of what Newberry is bringing to the table on the day, and that's what it really does feel like when it comes down to CCL. I feel like I've been talking about this for years. What do they look like on the day?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's a look at the map set then between Newberry and CSUN, and I guess we're immediately kind of going to draw comparisons to the last map set that we saw between Newberry and St. Clair. And there are a couple of returning maps, of course. We only got to see 3 of them, namely the Hotel Hardpoint and the Expo Control. And I think that's good for Newberry, right? And this is, again, without seeing CSUN on these maps versus Newberry. But I still think this is a good kind of situation for Newberry to find themselves in, because we already talked a little bit about the positives that we saw for Newberry. They are there. There are things very clearly that they were good at during those maps versus St. Clair.
Yeah, I mean, if you were watching for the Matadors, you're probably annotating the same thing that I'm going to be expecting coming through for Newberry as well. It's just their time to rotate, their ability to always leave one player to maybe battle for some scrap. It just comes down to being able to deliver on those executes truly. What does CSUN look like on this map, though? Because we got to see what it meant when Newberry are quite literally on their back foot continuously, having those roaming SMGs while the current hill is active, ARs trying to anchor out the spawns. It was really core fundamental hardpoint that St. Clair were able to exemplify versus Newberry. Newberry just could not keep up with the pace. So again, that's what we're mostly looking at for CSUN as they do come into this matchup. Again, 17-6 for hardpoint coming away from their region. It's no easy feat. And by the way of how close they were playing a lot of top dogs within this region as well, Newberry are for sure the underdogs here in this map number 1.
Yeah, they absolutely are. We'll see whether CSUN can come out here and give Newberry, well, a not-so-nice surprise here in Hotel Hardpoint. As we said, going back towards that Hotel Hardpoint that we saw between Newberry and St. Clair, they very quickly, I think, lost control of the game in the second set. That cannot happen again here. You got to make sure you get control of those money rotations, namely P1 or P2. We've seen them capable of it, but they have to be more consistent with it. And, of course, for CSUN, a roster that have been looking pretty hot all season long in Hardpoint. This is a big map for them to take in the best of 5. Let's get into it, though. Let's waste no more time as CSUN going to kick things off on the better side of the map.
Question is how long can you hold it? A lot of time to be accrued here on P1. We saw the Newberry were quite okay with the Saints out of St. Clair just getting about 35 seconds, but CSUN aren't just going to hold the P2 spawns. They're going to push on forward. Great first kill to find out. Polo's looking for a little bit extra here in the restaurant.
It's a lovely stun. Tags Bolo just directly off the back of the bounce. Al Harden will make him survive just a little bit off the back of it, but it's okay because KB is there to pick up the kill, and now Newberry are in for this time. Back 20 seconds now. Still worth fighting for CSUN, and they're going to do so via Rugs. KB, though, he is here for the coverage, picks up a second kill, and I think as that frag comes through, that is just going to rightfully send CSUN over towards rotation.
Yeah, it sure will. Got one player already on the backside of the lot. Nobody inside a spa, though. Cells isn't exactly going to push it quite yet. That forces Torment to play all the way to the backside of this fire truck, right? Because he needs to try to keep these spawns in his favor. Goes for the jump chow through the window, keeps one player weak. He will be cut down. And spawns will still remain intact for the Matadors in towards the back. Newberry were not aware of that, but they're still fighting trades.
And big kills coming through from Cells. Yeah, CSUN continued to spawn in the back line, but the problem is you actually have to get in towards this hill to contest. And Cells has a really nice heli to utilize here. Players for around him fallen though. Cells very quickly finds himself isolated, but they don't know he's here. They do not know, it would seem, as Cells now finds himself on 5 in a row. KB there for the coverage from more. And there is a rogue spawn coming through for number 3 in the form of Ruse. So CSUN will be looking to cause some carnage for the scrap time. But for the moment, again, Newberry in a really good spot in this game. They're 60 points up now, looking for controller rotation. And while Diff will lose the initial one.
Got 2 players over here, Dylan Polo, trying to at least hold on to the kitchen area ahead of this rotation for P3. And while Freaky has some assistance, his name is KB, not too far behind his diff. Polo, so much to do, snaking the second counter. It was actually enough work. You got 2 players in the back line here for CSUN. Need to push this. They don't know how many players are in here for Newberry.
Yeah, CSUN not in a great spot here. You cannot allow Newberry to take control of this hill. Diff has already doubled up for 2 now. Trades galore here inside. It's going to be KB and Diff, though, that ultimately have the final say. And this is not good at all. CSUN need to very quickly find their way back on through. Diff and sitting in this corner. Now Torment and Rue looking to find their way in. And Torment, well, he will trade out the initial, but Rue has already gone down now. Trades starting to go out here in Newberry's favor. And CSUN, I mean, they're left alive. They've got one player after one player going through, single after single gunfight, and none of them going in CSUN's favor. Back 20 seconds now, and it is a look coming through from Rue. I don't actually know how much damage you can do, though. Look at this scoreline, man.
Yeah, they already get the information as well. I mean, Dylan was already able to find a kill all the way through the double arches, so if you are CSUN, you have to be able to win this gunfight in towards the back and maybe try to get yourself over by P4. If you're Newberry, you're doing everything right. You're collecting the information, you're winning the majority of the gunfights, and you gave up the back 5 seconds so that way you can at least maintain these closer spawns around bottom bedroom. Diff does spawn a little bit further out towards the old hard point, but numbers will remain even for this break attempt.
Torment going to double up here on the initial. CSUN would be happy with that as they look to garner a lot of time with the back of this hill. Newberry will continue to spawn over by the bedroom side, and now that help coming through. I was going to say from Rue, but Freaky just flies up the steps for 2. Now looking to lose control. CSUN trying to hold on. Torment going to double up. That is a lovely kill, but needs to get number 3 and cannot get it done as KB going to get a 2-piece of his own. Make that 3. He will finally be traded out, but it just feels so insecure at the moment for CSUN as they look to get a majority control of something. We're now on hill number 5 as we go towards rotation, and once again, Newberry have a hand towards rotation. I mean, that hand is going to slip away here for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, how many times are we going to sit there and say that CSUN just need to try to show up in one of these hard points? As you were saying, we're going into hill number 5, and these trades are still continuously looking good for Newberry. One last player's over inside of the dashy spot over by bar. All of the Matadors are still spotting over by Chandelier, so it's a foot race for reinforcements. The last player to spot up is going to be Cells. He's in the middle of the map. A cruise missile is also being called in. I do believe it's going to be from Cells. It's going to keep all these players inside of the hard plant. Doesn't mean you're safe. The splash damage comes in. It's the kills required for Newberry to break.
Yeah, that's like one of the only kills here we have on restaurant or on hotel, excuse me, where you kind of know you can use a streak and you know exactly how to utilize it to translate in towards kills. Again, feels like, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, things going from bad to worse for CSUN. You've got to break in right now for 25 seconds. This is valuable time to go for. Dylan, though weak, will not win that gunfight against Cells. He's more than happy to take that engagement, but unfortunately for Newberry, they do actually get overwhelmed for a valuable 15 seconds, and I think perhaps more to the point here, as we go towards rotation, CSUN do have control over P6.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to at least get 2 players in towards the backside of the jacuzzi area. One player of Dylan is starting to clear all of bottom luggage over by this rotation for top ballet. Ruben's holding the back line as well. Such a tough head glitch to go up against. He even gets damage on the Cells, who throws a wild nade, gets caught by a trophy system, but this is a massive 5 screen. The Semtex will confirm the kill on the Cells. So a cruise missile now in the back pocket for the Matadors. They got themselves set up here inside of P6. Newberry trying to break from top luggage, and they are immediately denied. This is the best luck that the Matadors have had all set long.
Indeed, and they should be able to get a full 60 off the back of this. Should is doing a lot of heavy lifting there in that sentence, because CSUN's still going to work for it. Dylan around the front line getting the kills required. Torment also providing the coverage around the back as well. Everything is looking up here for CSUN as they look to garner the remainder of that time. Ruben's still going off, by the way. Now finds himself on another 2 in a row, looking for number 3 and runs out of bullets for the fight. Gonna do it with a knife anyway. Don't worry about it. Ruben says, I'm getting that kill. Don't you stress, CSUN, as they now find themselves, I mean, look, they're still in the hole. We'll say that much, Andy, mate. They're still 70 points down or so against Newberry, but there is a path back into this game now.
Does it have to be like frame perfect almost? Because I mean, it looked like those 2 knives just clanked each other, and I felt like there should have been like some sort of parry effect. I don't know. IW hit my number, 173 to 115. Going in towards the second set, and CSUN are not relenting at all. They have found a second win in towards this hard point, now just trailing by 60, and I say that because they were down by about 100, if not plus that, going in towards P6. They have a great setup here to look at P1, plus they're trying to maintain the positioning for the rotation towards 2.
Man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this doesn't look good for Newberry. They are, yeah, 50 points up at this point. Yeah, they can still get a lot of time. And yeah, CSUN have to do quite a lot of work to make sure they do come back towards this game. But look at the positioning at CSUN at the moment. They've got full control over the mini-map. They've got full control over mid-map. Torment and Ruben, what is going on? They are just 2 out of the 3 players that find themselves on a combined 9 spree at the moment as this transition towards P2 comes about. Newberry, they want to break fast to put an end to this kerfuffle. Got to get past Ruben as the first kill in a succession. But I mean, what on earth is going on? Ruben now on 4 in a row, looking to get more kills up as well as Chandelier. Cells and KB now looking to come on through. Finally, they put a stop to him. It's a little bit messy because now players on the other side as well. But look at the kill feed. Every single gunfight that needs to be won for CSUN is going their way.
I mean, this setup is absolutely electric for CSUN. Polo was just playing off the information from Ruben that went down over by Chandelier, and he goes right back to the same prone spot, shuts down the flank once again. Newberry have had 0 answers for the Matadors. Coming away from P6 in towards the second set, it is now a 20-point game. Newberry are reeling. Even Cells gets denied for scrap time. CSUN are going to take the lead off of this hard point. Polo is still slicing people up, and Newberry, with their tails tucked between their legs, have to rotate over towards New.
Yeah, this is the first hill in the last 3 or 4 that Newberry have actually got first touch on. Maybe that's a little bit premature, because already CSUN are knocking at the door around the back line. But nonetheless, Newberry, you gotta hold this. You can see Dylan over by restaurant, keeping players coming off spawn at base. This will isolate Cells and Freaky inside for the moment. What can they do? Cells gonna lose the first. Now Freaky needs to double up, and he's not able to do so. CSUN, they storm their way through. Torment on 7 in a row. What is happening?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Newberry, you can't let off the gas. Not like this. Torment is making you look absolutely like a bunch of buffoons. You get the trades, that's just so good. Coming through from CSUN. 21 and 17 now for Torment. Ruben has not relented at all. 22 and 14. Now it's Dylan's turn. Inside the hard point, has to get towards the reload. Diff has no idea where he's going to pop up next. But that was the probably toughest battle I have ever seen Newberry have in this map for scrap time, and they're keeping them guessing. Freaky's just jumping around corners, just breaking the walls here on Hotel, trying to guess where these players are located at. He guessed right. There was a few players in towards the back line here for P4, but Newberry will maintain the rotation for now.
Yeah, you gotta hold it. You cannot have another kitchen happen right now. The last 5 kills have been in dominant control for CSUN. Freaking out, looking to hold on. Unfortunately, only able to produce 1, and just like that, CSUN, they're able to get control once again. There is a split spawn coming on through, though, so Newberry got players on both sides. They've got to get the read on towards Cells before he can cause some carnage in the back line, and now it is just Cells as KB and Diff go down. Cells has been sniffed out. CSUN, how on earth has this happened? They can't finish things here, but the fact that they can finish things at all is questionable.
They were down by 130 points! And now they're in the driver's seat to close it out. Newberry have to break this. You can't allow all these 20 seconds to come through, and the trades, again, are so good for CSUN. Even Polo, over by P4, he was the sole defender of this site, still pushes forward and is able to find a kill. Dylan's looking for more chaos in towards the back. He's already on 6 in a row, by the way. Street Pistol confirms where these players are going to be located at. Dylan can't find the kill. So now Newberry find themselves the rotation. CSUN just need 8 points.
Yeah, they need to be perfect from here on out, and it's going to be tough to break in. We will say that much for CSUN, but that's a good start. Diff goes down by Jewelry. KB putting some shots in towards Dylan around Rugs, and now somebody needs to get out of position to go and help on out. Cells goes down, and now everything relies on Freaky. A 1 versus 3 inside the point. Pre-fire galore, but not a single shot hitting a player on CSUN. They have done it. A monumental comeback from the brink. What just happened?
Brody, they were down by like 130 points in the first set. And they get a full 60 off of a break from P5 going over towards P6. They hold the better side of the map for P2, get the majority of time of P1, then P2, break P3 within the first 20 seconds. And it all started off with a little Ruben 6 spree outside of back kitchen ever since that kill came through. And then he went on for another 3 spree, that last kill with the knife. Newberry just never looked the same, man. They were absolutely gutted coming in towards the second set of those hard points, just breaking up every which way in between. I mean, CSUN just made it look so easy in the second set that if you watch the entire first 4.5 hard points of this hotel map number 1, you would think the scoreline is a lie.
I feel like this is one of those moments where if you're like a CSUN fan, like in traditional sports or whatever, you see a lead like that, you leave the stadium, right? You're like,
yeah, you go get some snacks, like, we're good.
Yeah.
Team map 2.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to the local Mackey's, I'm getting myself a Big Mac, I'm out, I'm done. And then you come back and you're like, yo, check your phone. What just happened? Like, yeah? I don't know how to break that down beyond Newberry got broken down. Like, there is just no other way to explain it, mate. There was just from this point on, this is the moment right here where CSUN, they get control of P6, and every single kill from there on out was majority control in their favor. Newberry, all you need to do in this situation is just make sure you win the back 20 on hills. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. And they fumble. I can't believe it.
It's just in that one moment again. When you go back, if you recognize it in chat, or if you even as well, Brody, if that was that turning point where CSUN started recognizing, okay, we need to stop turtling up inside the hard points. We need to start taking more space and put our SMGs in these very lurking and annoying spots. From there on out, Newberry just could not check the right corners. Even if they did, they were not winning the gunfights. And CSUN just had all of the map in their favor. They were dictating the pace, and it just came through a lot of these individualistic plays that were around the hard point, creating space and chaos for the upcoming rotation as well. Not to mention, I mean, their break attempts were just oh so poetic. I mean, it almost felt like that it was like synchronized diving the way I was looking at some of these hard points being broken up for CSUN. In Newberry, were turned up inside the hard points continuously. CSUN just collapsed, pinched it, and they were walking away with 3-for-1 trades at the bare minimum. 27 and 22 for Polo. 27 and 16 for Ruben. 24 of those kills were non-traded, by the way, with about 2,900 damage. And Dylan went 27 and 17 with a minute and 40 of OBJ time with 3k damage. Pick your poison, brother. CSUN went off.
Yeah, and I think the key thing for me is as well, beyond just kind of like the KDs, which is disgusting, generally speaking. It's the streaks. It sounds really weird, but sometimes it can only take one player to just take control of the game at any given moment. And it felt like that happened for a game to turn around. And that did happen multiple times towards the back half of the game where Dylan had his 6 spree, Ruben had his 6 spree, and then Torment had that stupid 9 spree. Like, those streaks, and I think maybe not so much the usage of the kind of the cruise missiles that they got off the back of those streaks, just completely turned the tide of the game. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. That, I think, might well be the craziest hardpoint you and I have watched this season of CCL so far, and what a time for it to come, because, of course, this is the LAN qualifiers. CSUN and Newberry, effectively, we've already kind of painted the picture here as something where they are fighting for survival, and CSUN, they're fighting hard, mate.
They absolutely are. And now, again, I find myself talking about what was required for Newberry in our first matchup versus St. Clair. We go into a map number 2. It's not Fortress, it's Hotel this time around. Maybe could be better as far as their decision-making is concerned. You feel like that this has to be a map win for Newberry if they want to win this series. CSUN's hardpoint is just so good. I mean, it's a little late to wake up for my liking and potentially the rest of the colleges as well. You were able to see exactly why. Coming back from a 130-point deficit is no easy feat. But the Search and Destroy, again, they've been keeping these teams really on their toes, specifically the St. Edward's Hilltoppers. Let's not forget the last 2 times that CSUN did play, no matter the map in the mode of Search and Destroy, they took the Hilltoppers to around 11 both times. That is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, it's. I think statistically it doesn't look great for Newberry. We'll say that much. Again, though, I think, you know, we'll go back to those stat lines that we were talking about earlier on. That was an expected map victory for CSUN. You know, forget how they did it for a moment. Put that to the back of your mind. It was a needed one because hardpoint is ultimately where their strengths lie, right? So, big one for them to win. Newberry, all right, you've lost it. Now you need to kind of go for the mental regain here. Go back towards this next map for a Hotel Search and Destroy victory to try and tie the series up at 1-2-1. But man, a real task on their hands. I don't know how you bounce back from that, to be honest. It's going to be a real task for them for sure. But it is going to be a B hit coming right off the rip here from Newberry. Only one player to contest with here for the moment is going to be Polo around that car, and he's just going to back away.
That's all the information you need. Freaky, you may have gotten inside a wine. He has some assistance, but look at the immediate response for CSUN. They're here to defend the B zone, and then calls for diff. Create more space over towards A. Whether he knows it or not, Torment is lurking bottom bed.
And Newberry got their secret weapon. It was diff, but I mean, that secret weapon is now out the window. And actually, you can see Newberry, I think they were actually pretty reliant on what diff was able to do over by that A area, because what, KB now looking to rotate back over towards A. Newberry's still making it at least look like a B hit, but I don't think CSUN have fallen for the trap. They've still got players scattered around the map in the various areas, keeping an eye on both sites, and for all of that noise being made over by B, Freaky, yes, he's able to produce a kill, but now the bomb is going to still go down over towards A, and Torment, does he have an angle on it is the question. He at least now knows, since he's seen Cells, that this is the play coming through. Now Cells is actually going to put those shots in. That coverage is good enough for the bomb to go down.
Torment, he's not exactly safe behind that curtain. Cells isn't going to be able to find the wall bang. Clock up to 45 seconds if Freaky just lurks in the middle of the map like that. Ruben, no chance. Dylan Torment retaking from bottom in top end.
Yeah, Freaky now looking for the ace here in this one. First free. Torment, they know where he is, and Cells is going to deny that ace, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be a kill translated regardless, and that looks scary there for a moment, mate, because again, Newberry was trying a variety of different things to win out that round. They had Freaky causing carnage over by B, but ultimately it was an A hit, and despite CSUN not falling for it, the kills are just good enough.
I mean, again, the way that entire round played out, I was just about ready to sing the praise and give Torment his flowers for being that sole player that was just defending over by the A zone. He finds that first player, Diff, who was trying to create more space so that way the bomb could be rotating back over like you were talking about, Brody. Dylan also rotated back through. Just came down to losing that one player on the cross. Freaky just playing a great round there. Can he continue on here in the round 2?
Well, it is going to be a much more traditional A hit coming out from CSUN this time around. Only one player removed from the play, and that's Torment, who's keeping an eye on that crucial flank through the middle of the map. And if he does get more involved in the play, well, it's going to say you might well find KB for an easy frag, but it's okay because Rue will get it done with the Semtex instead. Now, Cells in the middle of the map, losing control. That is a lovely kill to come through from Polo. Dylan also finding Diff. And now Freaky, well, look, he almost got an ace in the last round. How about a 1 versus 4 to follow that up?
I mean, the thing is that he's on a 3 spree, right? How bad do you want a cruise missile on Hotel Search and Destroy? I think that's what it mostly comes down to. Because, I mean, the ace, No Dead Silence has full util. And that's why I asked, Brody. It's a pain being right sometimes, I'm telling you. It really hurts.
Yeah. You're right. This is the play coming out. But it's like, and there was no winning the round, right? This is the tough thing in this situation. There's like a 1 versus 4. You've got to make the rotation over towards site. There is no winning the round. But still, it's like, yeah. I would have loved to see the 1v4. I'm just selfish, all right, bud? That's all I wanted in life.
You just want the clip for the real. But, I mean, CSUN decided that round within the first, like, 10, 15 seconds. Just the quickness and ability. Freaky's also able to find 1, so now it's just 2 kills away unless he's running score streaks. Doesn't look like he is, but regardless, I mean, that round was decided within, like, the first 15 seconds. Just the decision-making and the execution coming through for the Matadors out of CSUN, just to erupt through the middle of the map, just clear all the angles, all the crosses, the team shots galore were just so good. And lose 1 player in that round. It was all the way towards the end. Freaky made the right play for winning that round number 1. Now tied up going in round number 3. Freaky on the 4.
Yeah, at least Freaky, as you said, does keep that alive going in towards this round. And it's pretty early doors as well, so if Newberry can kind of get control of the back of Freaky's streak, that'd be nice. How can he get these kills? Torment is going to give him an easy frag. Doesn't actually continue those shots through the wall. I thought he might try to track him, but no. Will not get the gunfight. And now he's stunned up, down to 20 HP. Torment will win that duel convincingly. And look, Torment, I think if he was a feline, he would be out alive by this point because he has gotten himself in the first 3 rounds in many sticky situations and somehow survived.
I mean, that's now back-to-back defensive rounds coming through that CSUN players are able to stay alive top bed rather than being tracked. I mean, those curtains are wall bangable. You have to understand that, especially for Tax down low or even a Vaznev. You could pepper that player and you can find that kill. Now it's a 2v4. Bomb is patty cake. Just outside a statue. Needs to be recollected by Cells. All the way inside of Wine. Cells is, or Diff, excuse me, is looking to create a little bit more space. The map is really spaced out, though, for CSUN. Running out of time.
It's a good first frag. Oh, I tell you what, if he translates that on towards the second, if that conversion comes through, realistic. Now, not so much with 15 seconds left and no bomb in hand. Diff, I think, is looking to do some damage here to CSUN. Just anything, if you can maybe catch a player off guard. Player just runs by, gives you an easy kill, gives you something to look forward to in round number 4. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Diff is frantically searching for anything possible in the end of the round. He is not going to get given that for free by CSUN. And if a huge round coming through off those early frags.
Imagine the comms there at the moment that you go down and just like, man, we gave up the round for that? Your force breach is dying info? Come on!
Yeah.
It's just, it's the gamble, isn't it? Coming in towards that round number 3 for CSUN, who really come alive towards that second set of hard points on this very venue itself. If they can get into the gunfight first, they are very rare to lose it. Their offense now have to offer. Going to be splitting their affairs. Torment's going to look to cause some chaos over in the restaurant.
This is a very fast fight coming through from CSUN, and they're looking to follow it up with a kill to make it a little bit more comfortable. Dylan will find that. Now for Newberry. Any attempt to get players through on the flank will be met with resistance from Torment and Dylan. Got to be careful. There you go. Freaky tried to make his way through double archers and he goes down. Now KB looking to make his way through L. He is denied as well. And now Div once again finds himself in a 1 versus X situation. This time, the 1 versus 3 off the back of that first frag, but still, time is just not on his side whatsoever. There's not a chance in holy moly hell that you're winning that.
Holy moly hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the PG version.
A real whole different extreme. 3 rounds on the bounce, though, for CSUN after losing that initial. Again, it just really does feel like that when they are winning these rounds, they are decided in the first 20 seconds or so. Just very aggressive approaches, Very easy reads coming through as far as these gunfights are concerned. These ARs are really lighting things up. Torment pulling out a multitude of weapons as well. Now finds himself on a 4 spree as well. Need an answer here if you Newberry do not want to be trailing down 4-1.
Yeah, especially off that hard point, which still is going to hurt this roster. Towards this round number 5, got to have a good start. Polo's already been stunned up, so his position been revealed. But Freaky, well, I mean, he'll try and take him down, but it is only but an attempt as his head flies off the handle. If does trade things out, though, so now 3 versus 3. And off the back of that, I think Newberry are pretty happy with the way that trade went down because they do get control of the B-bomb site.
Yeah, they should be able to get this. And also just look at the minimap as well. I mean, Diff is following these players. He's going to see a couple players on the backside of the kitchen. No! Ooh. Unable to find one. That was a 2v3 to post.
And maybe a little bit premature, that. T-Cons are still, well, retake here. They don't know where KB and Cells are located inside this site. That maybe is the only reprieve that they have in this 2 versus 3. Even if they don't, well, they'll just double up now and KB down for the count. Cells is going to find it to far remove, and actually somehow they line up for him. Now a 1 versus 1. Ruben will get tagged up by that Semtex as well. And Cells, I mean, you get down to the point where you got 14 seconds. All you need to do is go for a late check. He'll throw a bit of a shoulder, but not too wide. Cells just pulled off a 1 versus 4. Yeah, I don't care, mate. He just pulled off a 1 versus 3, excuse me. I don't know how they line up. I'd have loved to see that again. Regardless, though, that is a round they should have won.
So many knife kills. I mean, CSUN, gotta calm down. They really love that secondary. But I mean, the way that Cells is just posted up inside of the pantry, there is just no reason at all that he doesn't get traded off of the second chow. The lineup comes through, Cells just lights him ablaze. I think one was a headshot. We know the headshot multiplier does go burr. I don't care what IW does to it. It's not nerfed. Dang it. Big round win here for Newberry. KB, much like the previous Search and Destroy versus St. Clair, trying to put on his best 007 impression, so looking for that first kill. CSUN trying to go back to the previous offensive ways for this fast plan today.
And that bomb not going to go down. Polo's already taken down here in this situation. Ruben being oppressed as well. Oh my god. This is so suppressive from Newberry in this round. CSUN on themselves. What's the short kit? This is aggression coming out from Freaky that I don't necessarily agree with in the play. To be honest, you've got control of the round. Why are you going full send like that?
Information's there. Just take it. Oh, Cells. That is gross. 1v2 for Dylan. That bomb still have yet to be planted. Cells knows that he just needs to throw a couple shoulders. Cells is one shot. He's behind the luggage. Cells see him exit, though. That's the biggest question. Dill's got dead silence. Diff's already watching the cross. Has him one shot. Has to dive back across. The Semtex will do the job. And suppressive, to say the least, that Newberry have now quite literally flipped the script. They are the first in the middle of the map. They are holding these angles, expecting for CSUN to be the aggressors over towards the A site, but this time around, Newberry are ready for it. They win 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, much better out of Newberry, and that has been the most convincing round, I think, from them thus far. Just getting full control over the A site pretty much right out the gate. Albeit, you know, I think Freaky did feel himself a little bit too much in the play. Doesn't matter, they win out in the end, but still, very good round coming out from Newberry here in the Search and Destroy. Gotta say, I think it was KB that didn't have such a good Search and Destroy in the last game versus St. Clair, right?
He is 007. He is the agency.
Yeah, he's not having a good day. Let's say that much for sure. Right now, though, Newberry, you haven't even the worst day, generally speaking, in this round as they lose their first blood in the form of Div. They are in a good stead to get control of the B-bomb site, though. This control from Ruben is not convincing whatsoever.
Semtex isn't going to find anything either. It's late. Everybody already crossed on the inside of the kitchen site. Close your doors. Wait for the wall bags to come through. Lock it down, boys. Already lost Div. Freaky gets cut down as well. KB has to stick towards his plant. Can't exit as well, and it's all gone wrong. But Cells in the clutch again. Can't find the kill. Could you imagine? I mean, like, he just, like, slid to, like, the quick little 180 turn, and he burns on the 2 more players.
I mean, they lined up from last time. It's not out of the realms of possibility for it to happen again. Probability, different story. Yeah, brilliant round coming out there from CSUN as they get the quick retake in. And I was a little bit concerned again, because I felt like the control that Ruben had from the cut wasn't that great, and we saw kind of what Newberry were able to produce by getting control of B last round, or last offensive round. Not able to produce the same result here once again because that Cells 1 versus 3 does not happen.
Look, all I'm going to say, is that the last time that KB went 0-7 was on stream on a Fortress Search and Destroy, he found 2 in the next round. Almost said. I'm just going to put it out there. 1 round lead here for the Matadors. Torment up to 8-3. Another offensive look. And this is going back to their round 1 shake of things. You're going to leave Torment to watch the exit. Another fast planned attempt here today.
It's going to be a little bit too fast because they haven't quite cleared all their angles just yet. The coverage on towards Diff was going to be the problem, and yeah, you could see that right from the rip. I don't think they had full control over luggage whatsoever. I don't necessarily think they have a sniper watching it. And off the back of that, Diff is going to draw that first blood. And now this is not all that dissimilar from the situation we saw with Newberry in the 4 versus 2 in the last round. They need to regain control of the site to CSUN, and that oppressive play actually does help. Dylan going to snipe away, even if he doesn't connect cells from the play.
Bomb's able to go down now. Post-plant situation. Ruben just has to watch this very long flank, but he's watching 2 different angles. Statue plus the chandelier push. This is the right position to be in. This is the way. Just turtle up your way around this info desk side. And let the gunfights come to you.
Yeah, they know that somebody's here. Newberry do, and yeah, nice 2v1 situation on it.
Wow.
Yeah, Torment going down. That's lovely from Newberry. And, you know, as I said in the play there, Andy, mate, that's not all that different from what we saw in the prior defensive round coming out from Newberry. The reaction is different from CSUN, but even that is not enough to win out.
No. It's just so tough. Again, I mean, Newberry had numbers. That's exactly what you want to see. KB pinching inside a statue. Get that player off of the check-in desk. Another person was pushing all the way over towards Chandelier. I mean, you saw it there at the very end. I mean, that last Matador player, hey, you have to watch Statue. You know that the flank can come through at Chandelier. And the moment that you give up one and you go play check-in, at that point, you're in a 2v3 post play, and you're going to get pinched from both different sides. So, wonderfully exploited there from Newberry, not only just to be able to maintain numbers, but also to retake that bomb site with the hastiness that they did. Keep things even in round number 9.
Such close search and destroy between these two teams, Andy, mate. Not a lot to split them whatsoever. And we saw these kills so important. Olo going to get this round off the ground. First blood on towards Freaky. Newberry have favored this B push time and time again. And I do wonder if they're trying to kind of influence CSUN in the play, being like, hey, CSUN, do you want to try and be a little bit more aggressive on the defense towards B? But once again, you can see it across the map. They have not bitten just yet. Diff, though, will read one from the middle of the map and take Torment down.
Can't give these free trades, though, if you are the Matadors. You have numbers. Just hold your angles. Trust your 2 players that are watching each of the bomb sites and then react accordingly. Now there's a certain depth of unknown across the map if you are CSUN. Cell's looking to make plays. Again, he's not a dead silence player. You would never think that with the positioning he's at in the map.
Oh. Ah, big first. What is that, man? This fast def can do silly things sometimes. Especially in the hands of a guy like Polo. Our numbers in favor of CSUN, but map advantage for Newberry. Big 1v1 to take there on towards Dylan, and all Div needs to do in this scenario is just to press fire on towards Div, on towards Dylan, excuse me. The problem is they don't know, and, oh, guys. What? Rule number 1. It's rule number 1 in the S&D strategy book. Don't send your bomb carrier hurtling towards somebody. It's dumb.
It's like...
What?
Just imagine those comms. It's just like, got 1 player luggage. I tagged him. He's a little weak. Baby's just like, I got him. He just fully dives through the doors. He's just waiting. Dylan was just sitting there, pre-ironed up, just waiting for the kill. That's just tough, right? I mean, in a perfect world, KB just tries to stick the plan. You have 1 player that's overwatching it inside of P4. Maybe he can find that kill inside of luggage, but that's a perfect situation. Now CSUN find themselves in a winning situation. Map point here. Not going for a quick plan today. They're looking to hit couches.
Well, the initial joust has gone down in the middle of the map. CSUN, I believe, at least take the win there off the back of that. No bedroom control just yet. Maybe Ruben can get that down low. Cells now being oppressed by cover fire coming out from Torment, and maybe that's enough to get Ruben map control. It isn't enough to take out Cells just yet, as Polo has now gone down. And this play from Dylan, who is actually the player that's pushed all the way up, is so much more important. He needs to produce something around the backline. I don't think Diff is actually up top. Yep, he's down low. So Dylan has got through completely scot-free. What does he have to produce with the back of it? There's the first kill, pre-fire towards Catwalk. There's nobody home, buddy, but you're in control of bedroom.
And Freaky doesn't push for that trade. His dead silence is available. He's going to get a free trade on Torment from behind. He knows he's not alone top bedroom, though. Dylan's looking for the trade. He's going to jump challenge. Freaky's able to get the kill. Woo, man. I thought there for a second he was going to push for that trade initially after that, after Cells got gunned top bedroom, but O's the line. Waits for that free kill to come up through top luggage. The rotation was certainly going to be called for to go up through top bedroom, potentially over towards the kitchen site, but and that is just great patience being exemplified from Freaky. Just lets his teammate die in cold blood and waits for the trades to come through. Round 11. Between these two teams, Torment is 10-6 for crying out loud. 10-7 for Cells on the opposite side. Something's got to give. Something has to give.
The Search and Destroy has been so back and forth, it's only right that it will finish in a round 11 fashion. Newberry breaking away from their favored B push for an A push right out of the rip, but do they feel comfortable enough to get the bomb down just yet? The coverage is good coming out from Cells, and this time around, Freaky also pushing all the way up. Torment not dead yet. He's going to have to scarp a Freaky off the back of that, get some real estate.
Bomb's going to get planted. Oh, Dylan's late to pounce on top of it. Now that door is ajar. He needs to get the heck out of dodge. Div is also able to find Ruben on the opposite side. Dylan with his dead silence needs to find value. Got to get to work.
And you've got information as well. You know the Torment's hanging about this area, so you can push up. Now you know where Dylan is as well. You know where these players are located, more or less. Dylan has to produce something special up top. Couldn't do it last round, now can do it here. First skill versus KB, but time quickly slipping through your fingers. You gotta go. Dylan, Torment, what can they produce? Dylan not able to win the gunfight down low, and now Torment has no dead silence, no options, and not a shot in hell. Gets the first kill, but no more than that. The change up in strategy is good for Newberry here in round 11.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, that again was just such a different take for Newberry. And you know what's funny? The way that those pants look, it awfully looked like the same offensive push that CSUN offered about 3 offenses in a row versus Newberry. Quick plan over at A. Make sure you try to get a player towards top bedroom. If you can get bottom Vala, you just gotta hold the line. The fact that Ruben was unable to find that first kill upon the exit, playing inside of the luggage stairs, as soon as he props it open when the bomb gets planted, that player's already top bedroom, son. You can't chow that anymore. He gives away his positioning. The collapse, so good for Newberry there at the final few moments. But again, I gotta wag my finger at you, son. There is no reason, I don't care what level of Call of Duty you're playing, that you should try to do 3, maybe 4 quick plants over at A while you're leaving one player lurking over by the restaurant. Linear, to say the least.
Yeah, there was some weird plays for sure. I definitely felt like Newberry, even though we did end up going towards a round of 11 on their offenses, felt like they were more in control than CSUN were. We'll say that much, right? You know, I will say for Newberry, felt the majority of that. It didn't help that KB was on a donut for 80% of the game once again. But nonetheless, they get it done in the end. This was such a back and forth search and destroy. We saw clutch play after clutch play. That one shouldn't have happened, right? We'll get this out of the way. Yeah, we saw the kind of nice play coming out with a knife from Ruben to close it out. But that 1 versus 3, no, that shouldn't happen.
It should just no. Put it on a bumper sticker. Infinity BL 2023. It should just no. This was just so cool. Again, at the turning point. I mean, that allows KB to get off the goose egg towards the breadstick, but then he just makes that play. What is that?
I
like, what? You had no time. And again, I'm not laughing at just the mistakes. I'm just laughing at just how, like, what's the call there, right? I mean, like, even if you find that kill, there was a player that was going to watch the mid-cross. You weren't going to be able to get the bomb played over at A. It was just funny. It's just hilarious nonetheless.
Yeah. I think maybe like the play in the situation, because you don't technically know that you don't have bedroom control, and that's kind of the back of your mind. You're like, hey, I'm kind of concerned here that we can't get this bomb down because we don't have the map control that we would desire, and they want to do so, and that's kind of where the origin of that play comes from, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter though in the end.
We're just trying to justify just like one of the most egregious looks we've ever had. Freaky,
it was bad.
Freaky had a good look towards the tail end. Again, I'm saying it. Like, KB goes to join the agency just so he can find the next 2 kills. The man is 007. 11-8 for Cells. We're always expecting this guy to put up a fantastic performance, no matter the map norm mode conversation. 8-7 for Diff as well. The teamwork was absolutely sublime. Torment was trying his damnedest to come all the way through, but Newberry will eke out, will guarantee at least a map 4 in that series.
Whoa, what's this? More Call of Duty action? Yeah, of course we're going to bring you it with the CCL broadcast. SIUE versus Rutgers, another match that's going on concurrently with the one we have on our main showing. And right now, a very close hardpoint here on Embassy. Jayhem going to cause some mayhem inside the hardpoint. I can't imagine that's been said at all this season thus far, as Rutgers now in control for the 40 seconds or so. SIUE, they're knocking, though, through the administration building, and Ryuga, well, keeping an eye on that hallway.
Let's not forget here in Group C, I mean, you have SIUE, Rutgers, and then the top dogs, or the top Billy Goats, Mountain Goats, the Hilltoppers, you know what I'm trying to say. And you almost have to feel like that to come out with this Series W would be a massive one, and it's very close. You're on Embassy hardpoint between these two teams, two very good hardpoint teams at that. D-Day leading the charge 27-12. Been meaning to say that for a very long time, but the rotation over towards 5 is required. Rutgers looking to hold the line. Hybrid's able to find 2. Those are great 2 kills. Half for yourself should be the initial setup.
Yep. Good setup coming through from Rutgers to earlier control, excuse me, over this next hard point. Can they hold it, though, is the question. Chatter going to sit in the corner now, waiting this push coming through from Big Country. And slow-mo, which I'll never get tired of saying. Big Country flying on through now for the first. And oh my god, look at that triple chow coming on through from SIUE. It now isolates Ryuga for the scrap. Or I say scrap, for the remainder of this hill, as he now needs to wait for the rest of the team who will spawn up over the tennis courts to come and help on through. Ryuga now giving this one more look, and the team shots are good. Not able to convert for the double. Can Chatter do anything here? Yes, he can. That's a 2-piece.
Big veteran names here inside this lobby. See Chatter. Ryuga still hanging with the best. Hybrid up to 50 engagements, by the way. Not all of them a positive. This map, again, is just so close. I mean, if you just showed me the top stats, I would never believe you that the map would just be this close, guaranteed to almost go down to the absolute wire. 2 minutes worth of game clock. This is going to end inside of a hardpoint. D-Day also keeping them on skates. Will soak up the scrap time. 2:06 and 2:01. To a last set we go.
Indeed, this is just classic Embassy, isn't it? You know, a close hard point on Embassy is just another day in the office, quite literally, because there's a lot of them here on the Embassy buildings. Are we going to touch here on P1 for the moment, as both teams looking to garner map control before they do so? It is, technically speaking, Rutgers in the better side of the map, as they've got control of top paper, they've got control of the PT rotation as well, and that's where we're going to need to go now, as there's still 30 seconds left to fight for at the back of this P1. It's going to be D-Day inside to pick the head off Chatter, now down low in towards that bedroom or bathroom position. Ryuga tries to survive, but does get shut down by Big Country. This is a flurry of kills coming through from SIUE. Hybrid looking to offer some resistance from Rutgers, but they are not going to find anything.
Yeah, Anchor in the best possible position while the rest of his teammates are still battling over by the bridge, over by P5. Anchor has just been chilling up inside top paper with a TAC 56. Finally gets traded out. The rotation over towards Newberry required. SIUE Esports just required 13 seconds to close out this game, and D-Day's pinching them from behind.
Big position for D-Day to find himself in, but Chatter will beam in off the back line, so Rutgers not done yet. Anchor falls down over by Cafeteria as well. Slow-mo. We're going to peek out from the side door, and every single important gunfight the SIUE want to win at the moment is just not going their way. Perhaps Big Country can do something in administration as well. It's so tough to break on through. Now you're going to put your trophy system down to stop any of that stuns, which have been a real hindrance to you on this entry. Just coming on through. Now, though, trades once again going down in favor of Rutgers. It's going to be 5 in a row from Chatter around the backline. He's looking to make it number 6. If he can earn this, not only will he save the hard point, but he gets the streak as well, and is going to be denied with a huge one coming through from slow-mo players spawning out across the map. Rutgers will not touch. Somebody from SIUE, please finish the game off. D-Day's gonna have to go for a double to get it done. A huge double comes through, and SIUE, they have to fight for it towards the end. Big kills coming through to stop Chatter inside, but they do get it done.
Yeah, I was about to say the rotation from 2 to 3 isn't exactly a good spot to be padding your stats if that's what SIUE were looking for. It's really not. The Cougars just need to get somebody on the hard point. But once they got those 2 kills, specifically the one on the Chatter over inside of the stairwell that leads to top paper, I mean, you're just spawning over by the tennis courts at that point if you are Rutgers, and you're just not going to have enough time, really, to just be able to get your gunny up. You're going to be either knife out, full tack spread all the way through the middle of the map past the palm trees to where, you guessed it, head glitches galore over by Xbox are ready to tear you down. So, big turnaround for SIUE. Again, that was a very close scoreline, I will say that much. I think that this would be a very uphill battle for Rutgers. They look very, very good this season, but we know that the Cougars coming out from SIUE are definitely no slouch. We get to take a look at some of the highlights, especially from that map. This is actually a lot of what we missed throughout the entirety of the first set. And honestly speaking, I mean, it was close all the way until the end of that P5.
Yeah, it's Embassy, right? Maybe I'm out of pocket for saying this, but you know how I feel about Embassy. I think statistically, if we were to look at the raw stats at the closest hardpoint map we have here in Modern Warfare 2, I'd say without a shadow of a doubt it would be Embassy, right? I mean, these kind of close hardpoint score lines are almost always the case when it comes down to this map. I don't know really what it is. It's just such a kind of a handshaky map, generally speaking. So just another day in the office, as we said, between these two teams. They got a really close hardpoint and not a lot to separate them whatsoever. Crazy plays coming through for the last 3 to 4 hard points, and it was just so back and forth as these teams just traded control.
Let's not forget, I mean, Rutgers, especially even to find themselves in this position, they went on a run and a half through their regional bracket. They lost to Western Esports in winners round 1, and then tore through so many different names. Carleton, OTSU, RIT, Western again. They had to beat Queens, who we got to see a little bit earlier on as well. They inevitably lost to Farmingdale State College, the Rams, in lower finals, and clearly keeping their nose to the grindstone. Again, if you just showed me the stat line when we loaded into that, I would have felt like that the Cougars were going to be able to win by a country mile, but it is Embassy at the end of the day. Things can be relatively close. Meaningless kills around the hard point don't really kind of bring any sort of fruition as far as time is concerned. 39-16 for D-Day. 3,800 damage. Was leading the lobby in almost in every single category. Almost had a minute of OBJ time as well. 11 of those kills came within the hill as well. But again, I just do feel like that this will be an uphill battle. I don't even know what the full best of 5 map set does look like for the Rutgers team. But we know that this SIUE team knows pretty damn well that their biggest matchup is going to be St. Edwards. Can Rutgers steal one away?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question, is it? I would say this is actually, just generally speaking, a really tough group to find yourselves in my mind at least, right? I think you and I have had some conversations about St. Edwards time and time again about how good of a roster they can be. We've obviously seen SIUE in action quite a lot this season. I think you and I have casted over at least 2 or 3 of their matches, and then Rutgers as well. I mean, we know what they're capable of. So this is a really tough group, I think, to be in. To lose one of these teams at this stage of the competition is going to be tough to say goodbye to. But I expect close matches kind of throughout this series. As SIUE, they're going to kick off the series with a Embassy hardpoint victory. Next up on the docket between these two teams is going to be a good old Fortress Search and Destroy. Boy, oh boy, do we love this.
Again, I mean, even if you go 0-2, you do get slotted into a inter-group matchup. I was trying to look for, like, cross-regional between groups. So you're still going to end up facing, like, if you finish 3rd place, you're going to face number 1 as far as Group 4 is concerned, which we would probably assume would be St. Clair, unless CSUN come a little bit different in their final matchup. More on that later. It just has to start here as far as a Fortress Search and Destroy is concerned, but I mean, arguably speaking, there are no easy matchups. We are in the final stretches here. We started off with 200-plus schools. We end ourselves here. You know every single matchup is going to be a crucial one. Cannot take your opponent for granted.
Yeah, that's kind of where we were at, right, as we got into the LAN qualifiers. I think when it came down to the regional playoffs, we were like, look, some of these early round matches, given just how many teams are in the regional playoffs, they're going to be a breeze, I think, for some of the higher seeded teams. And we kind of knew that coming in towards regional playoffs, that it wouldn't be until the LAN qualifiers, really. This is where we come down to, this is, as I think I described it before we got into the broadcast today, mate, the best of the rest, right? This is trying to find those final 4 teams to join the number 1 seeds. Or I think it was number 1 seeds from every region. I think that I even one. It kind of escapes me which one it was that didn't. There wasn't the number 1 seed, but regardless, the number 1 team, I suppose, from every region already at that LAN playoffs. It's going to be great to see, man, because there are teams, as we said, that are currently still competing, that got to LAN last year, that are fighting tooth and nail to get there again. I think St. Clair was one of them, right, that we just got to see earlier on today. So I don't know who's going to get through, man, but I just know that we've got some close matches ahead of us.
And to answer your question, it was the University of North America. The Dragons were the only non-number 1 seed team in the Southeast that were able to beat Mars Hill. A 3-0 fashion, by the way, as far as grand finals are concerned, and set Mars Hill absolutely packing. The reason why they were a number 1 seed is because they had a forfeit loss versus Mars Hill, funny enough, throughout the entirety of the regular season. But I mean, this is it here, man. I mean, we already got 4 teams that are set up as far as LAN is concerned. We can only set up for 4 more players at shop there at the end of the road. Honestly speaking, I mean, you have a couple favorites. Sure, it may not matter. It just, again, depends on how you play on the day. These matchups here are setting up the narrative for tomorrow.
All right, well, it's time to go for a quick toilet break here, folks, because we're going to send it to a very short commission break here. On the other side, we've got Newberry Esports and CSUN in map number 3. You know what I think I want more of, mate? I want more Kimmelmat Expo. So we're going to go straight into that here between Newberry Esports and CSUN. Of course, this is a 1-1 series between these two teams, making this map extremely important.
Offense first here for Newberry. Looking to build some momentum off of that round 11 win. And again, that map number 1 was all Newberry within the first few moments, honestly. It looks to be the same way here. I mean, CSUN might still think about trying to contest this B zone. It would be the wrong call. You got to almost count your losses here, but Ruben up top He's able to find a couple kills. Just comes down to Freaky down low, and that should be the last kill required. Will maintain just a small life lead, but 60 seconds out on the board.
Yeah, that was a last little punt coming through from CSUN that was really risky, because if you lose transitional gunfights, you can very easily give them the transition over towards Newberry. I still think to a certain extent that has happened, because CSUN could have just set themselves up for an A-hole. They have not done that, and now Newberry off the back of it have kind of filtered on through. They've got some map control more than CSUN would desire, but CSUN at the moment got themselves in good position to try and spawn trap Newberry. Torment, one of those players, just keeping an eye on that left side. Dylan also has an idea that somebody might have slipped behind enemy lines. He would be right in that intuition. KB is that player who could do some serious damage here for Newberry. Again, they haven't sniffed him out just yet. You've got to be quiet, at least on the initial. There you go. There's Torment down for the count. Freaky on the other side is able to pick up one. So KB now can continue to cause carnage in the backline. You need to deal with him relatively quickly, and Polo will dispatch with him.
Yep, no more spawn kills come all the way through, but the space has been provided. You got 2 players on the A zone. Second segment should surely be captured, but this is a wide, big zone, and you can just contest it from 2 different sides, and CSUN more than aware of that. They get on just before that second segment actually gets captured. Collapse on the play. Now they have a 3-life lead.
Torment at the moment just using the coverage of, I don't even know what this is, like a covered table, I don't know, whatever it is. It was a coverage that was there, and Diff is just going to reposition to deal with the player that CSUN now once again regaining control of the map. 1 ticket progression already gone by A. Newberry are going to get around the restaurant. They know that somebody's going to be located inside. That's going to be the play here for the moment, as Dylan now going to fly down 6-1, now making it 6-2 as they lose that initial gunfight. Now the player that was sat inside restaurant, that is going to be Polo, has to come and help on out. Torment already down for the count. Polo's picked up 1, but Freaky will double up, and now the space is there. Freaky gets the 3rd over by the pool. KB, all he needs to do is get number 4, and he does exactly that. The second progression now going to be through for Newberry. Can CSUN make their way over towards the point to save this one? Cells just trying to peep fire to keep Torment away, and that coverage is good. Freaky goes huge.
Yeah, I mean, Freaky just finding those 3 kills, right? Just confirms all the information for the last player inside of the control zone for KB just to look at that over by the spa huts. Exactly where those players are going to be coming from, and that's exactly where the last chow was fallen through. So Newberry got that B zone. Their opening break, 2 minutes on the board to assault the A zone. They always made sure that they cleared their tent. They always made sure that they cleared the restaurant and threw showers just to make sure that they get inside a pool. Maybe send a player lurking inside of lounge. His name is Freaky. And then CSUN just getting cut down to bits as soon as they try to recontest. So a big offensive round 1 there for Newberry in the first.
What does the offense look like from CSUN right out the gate? Of course, A is the harder point to take of the 2. They want to get it done straight away. They have to quite counter slip the net, and that is Diff, who just comes in behind and says, "Peekaboo, I am so going to kill you in this situation." And that is exactly what happens there. Diff completely clears A point, and now for CSUN, back to the backup plan of B. They have to hope that Newberry haven't already enacted a spawn trap in. That has not happened. Instead, CSUN now have filtered players through.
I mean, Dylan just gets away at 1 HP, was starting to get chased out, but I mean, now it's gone completely awry. Freaky is the last player inside, and I guess you want this man to be the sole guardian of this B zone. Still alive over there. Gonna be stuck in a few different engagements, but Dylan elsewhere trying to reflank over by the A zone, was stunned up, takes down KB. And elsewhere, his teammates are able to find the kills there on the big B control zones. Now the clock stalled out here at 37 seconds.
Yeah, at least you've wasted quite a lot of time with the clock here if you're Newberry on the defense, because I don't think you have much of a hope, to be honest, of defending this B zone. CSUN are just going to waste no time whatsoever dispatching with this B zone. So the question then becomes, as B is already a foregone conclusion, can you get players in from behind from that transition? Already, Dylan facing some resistance up top. Freaky, I believe, will be the player, if anybody, that has thrown that stun on through. And he's picked up 1, but great trade coming through now from Ruben. Cell's going to have to reposition up top here inside glass to take that player down. Ruben knows that there's likely going to be somebody sat inside glass. And there you go now, Ruben moving across. Dylan just going to work off the back of that distraction play. Sells moves away at the wrong time, but he still ends up winning at least one of the engagements.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you maintain this lounge in your favor. At least keep 1 player in here if you are Newberry. Freaky playing around with some couple sound cues. Gets stuck in an engagement versus Ruben. Did not have the better angle for that gunfight, so Ruben will find that kill in towards the back, but immediately traded out. You still have players over by the A control zone. CSUN stalling out that clock once again.
CSUN, they've got the coverage. Ruben just being such a detriment. He has the cruise missile now in the back pocket, but Freaky! How does this keep happening? Oh, he gets another three-piece, this time to save the round. And it completely flips the situation. 45 seconds on the clock, and once again, Newberry, they've got map control.
Yeah, Freaky's playing a little bit differently. No!
What?
No! No! What the?
Dude.
KB. Oh. Trick's being called in, by the way. That's going to keep them off of the A control zone. Oh, no, it's Ruben actually calling it in. So that should have been more or less a guaranteed for that second segment to be looked at, but 27 seconds remaining on the clock.
Cells needs to keep his position there. There's no point getting curious around the back line. Now CSUN, they're looking to get control of this point. Freaky is again the player that looks to save the day, and he goes down, so now it has to be Diff around the right side. He is going to fall as well. 21.8 seconds. It's a double stack on the point. I don't think Cells can actually do anything about this, to be honest. He will fly and will get a contestation through, just a sliver of progression away from capturing the point, and CSUN get it done. I don't think they expected to have to fight a second time to make that capture happen, but Freaky, he does it. He just almost saves the round.
I mean, you know, there's always this conversation of like, oh, he's Mr. Two-Piece. Freaky is Mr. Three-Piece right now.
Yeah.
I mean, at least this control so far. Yes, we went offense for offense. Both of them ended via segments. But he made it expensive for the Matadors. Ruben had to invest that cruise missile. You're looking at the grander scheme of things. Yeah, you lost the round, but at least you maintained your resource evenness. I don't know. Is that even a word? Regardless, Newberry back on towards the offense, and we'll see some expecting them to maybe go over towards B. They're actually trying to push past the restaurant, trying to get A first.
Yeah. Brilliant start coming through from Newberry, rather specifically Cells. If it's not Freaky getting a three-piece, it's Cells who will find the triple. And off the back of that, CSUN will feel uncomfortable about retaking this point. This is going to be a complete four-stack coming on through. They are completely reliant on the fact that nobody is going to get here in time. Instead, somebody from CSUN does. The trade's now back in their favor. Cells stunned up, tagged up to 46 HP. How ready is he for this one? And looks away at the complete wrong time. And that is a big gamble coming through from Newberry. But they do get 2 ticks of progression over towards A on the harder point.
And they're actually leaving one player of Polo to deplete that third segment as well. And you should more or less assume, especially with Rue's current positioning on the map, that this push is now coming over towards B. It is 3 players strong. One player still trying to jostle for position up top. His name is Diff. You got players still trying to play down low over by the stage. Dylan trying to find out the correct angle to at least get that gunfight. Finally deals with Cells, but trades are still a bountiful. First segment was locked in over at B. 50 seconds remain.
Yeah, this is a bit of a split play coming through, I think, from Newberry, just generally speaking. So many eggs into the basket. There was A off the rip, but you do want to finish that point. You have to imagine, I think, as those kills come through now, unless Polo could be the enigmatic player that we know they are capable of being, I think this point is donezo, and yeah, they know it as well. This is the right call coming through from CSUN. Great reaction. You can see the arrows on the minimap. They're preparing themselves for the transition towards B. Polo in from behind. Well, he's doing more than preparing. That is a surprise. A shock, you might say. They never saw him coming.
I mean, that hip fire almost took down Div 2. That's crazy. That's a pop collar Polo right there if I've ever seen a big 6-free. Gonna be able to get another cruise missile in the back pocket there for the Matadors. Probably won't need it anytime soon as well. You still have players trying to commit towards this lounge reception area, towards top glass. Torment can't get the regen. Cells will find the kill. Now the battle inside the stage commences.
Yeah, and CSUN, I think they're scrambling at the moment to regain map control. They've lost it entirely. There's one player close by, Ruben, and he's been sniffed out as well. I think we're about to see the very same 4-stack that we saw from the A zone over towards B. This time around, CSUN, how are they going to react to it? Torment, he's here, as is another player, but it just is not enough to stop that insanely fast stack from Newberry. And it's worth noting, Andy, that, like, never happens. Like, 4 stacks like that just don't happen ever. And it is absolutely the right call from Newberry.
Yeah, I think it's because we spend so much time, like, watching challengers in the CDL, and, like, one of the biggest gimmicks when it comes down to control is just stack the point forehead. Yep. Here in the CCL, man, ain't no games being played besides Call of Duty, and that is the right call. Especially there in the B control zone, right? I mean, you found the kill in top projector. Realistically, the only way to get there as quickly as CSUN possibly could have would have been backstage through the side hall, and that is exactly where they came from. So good call coming through from Newberry just to stack that zone for CSUN's hand. Back to back to back offense as we go.
Now, this is Expo. It's not a surprise to see offenses being traded out like this, but it's the manner in which they've been happening that's been most surprising, as A off the rip has been the strategy most of the time for these teams thus far. It seems to be the case once again here for CSUN, as they get, was it a 3-for-1, 4-for-1 trade right off the rip here, make that 5-for-1 as Ruben picks up yet another frag. There will be a contestant coming through from Freaky, who's looking to produce yet another insatiable 3-piece. He picks up 2, but the 3 is just a little bit out of reach there, as A will fall by the wayside. Newberry, now a moment to breathe.
He's opening rips that are just almost guaranteeing 2 minutes on the board. A handful of offenses now. Matadors also have a 3-life lead. Rupert's a trophy system player, so he's going to be creating quite the ruckus up here in top projector. And Cells will find one down low. So that more or less just stabilized inside of the zone itself. You have KB that's pushed all the way inside of the base of CSUN, just waiting for his time to pounce. I think he might have just awkwardly timing himself. Yeah, he will go down. So now this hit mostly through the north lane. Newberry doing a great job of just whittling down this clock though, Brody.
They haven't fully cleared house, it's worth saying that much, as Torment, as we noted earlier on, is still hanging around the backline. And the problem for Torment off screen is that he doesn't actually have anything to do. He's waiting for players to go over spawn. The kills that precede that still haven't occurred. Finally they do now as Diff goes down. CSUN putting a quite heavy investment here into this flank.
Oh no.
How ready a Newberry for this one? Diff goes down, KB up top is going to win the first one. Down to 39 HP he goes. How ready is he for the second? Nobody going to challenge just yet, so he will be allowed the regen. And once again, CSUN relying on these players that have filtered through. Torment in the backline finally going to produce something for his team as he finds Diff. CSUN, they've got all the players in the right places for this stack to come through.
And Diff's average lifespan of the past 3 respawns has been about 2.5 seconds. Freaky down low, trying to find the kills. Still have Dylan on the control zone. 4 spree for him. Looking for a little bit more of his teammates. Not too far away. Polo looking for the long cross. Gets gunned from behind.
Yeah, this doesn't look as secure as it once did, to be honest, especially as Dylan's now the last one left alive. He's on 5 in a row. Maybe he could produce the 6th, but he's a little bit too aggressive there. 6th will be denied away. CSUN going to have to now hit this once again. A 15 versus 9, but I'm not sure that will matter all that much in this situation. It's time. That is your biggest enemy, not the life differential. CSUN now reliant on trying to get towards this point and trying to stop the clock. Finally, they're going to do so. All 3 players stacking this in the 14 versus 7 for Newberry. You put yourselves at a disadvantage and get yourselves towards the point. You can't get it done. And would you, Adam and Eve it, mate? It's around 5.
Wouldn't you, Adam and Eve it, indeed. Comes out of kills now, Brody. I have not been tracked. I do not have my T83 plus calculator. I don't do simple addition on broadcast. But again, I mean, CSUN just having 2 minutes through that entire offense. It was just so big for them. And the overall patience to understanding that, okay, we can't get inside of Globe. We can't get past reception. So why don't we just try to go back through the old dead zone of Pool? They put Diff in the absolute blender where, again, he was like spawn dying like 3 different times in a row. And then from there on out, they force all of Newberry to then try to come help out his their comrades to be able to get out of spawn reliably. Once those kills came through, CSUN did not get off the zone. The way things have shaken out, CSUN will have that round 5 defense, but I don't know how things have played out. Do we even want to be here?
No. You don't. I think Expo is forehead comment question mark. I think Expo is offensively sided.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels it sometimes.
In this series, it feels like it.
Yeah, it certainly has felt like it sometimes, right? It's just a spawn trap can be so aggressive. And B is just so easy to take. It certainly has felt like, as we said, towards this particular control, particular game. So far, 50-50 off the start. And CSUN felt threatened enough that they felt like they had to bring the streak down to create some space over towards A. Ultimately, the right call as well, especially as Dylan right now starting to streak out once again at 33 and 20 now. Finally goes down. Pressure has now been alleviated. Newberry, they have a path over towards B.
I mean, you're just hoping for that streak to be able to find value. That value gets them off the A control zone and also put Dylan in a position to be able to find 2 more spawn kills. Now, you know that the Wolves for Newberry are going to be spawning parallel over towards the B zone. The first segment is already on its way, and you have Freaky creating so much chaos in through some of these hallways that CSUN, by proxy, you're going to be coming around from the flank, and the spawn just works out so wonderfully for KB to get the information. That B control zone is chalked.
Yeah, don't invest anything more into this. If you're a CSUN, it would be a mistake to make because then you lose the map control that you've garnered off the back of these kills coming through from Ruben. They do actually manage to save the point, momentarily at least, as KB comes through for the double. Gets himself involved in the conversation now at 16 and 24. Starting to heat up on 3 in a row. Now for Newberry. A lot of eggs in a lot of different baskets at the moment. If one of those eggs gonna hatch towards the back line. Oh my god, indeed he will. Into the sunlight he goes. Traded out, though, is Diff and Cell. CSUN now reliant on these players coming on the flank. KB able to get one. Also, 3Q providing the cover fire from bottom bar, and he now needs to play his life.
Yep. Or it's just to play down here in lower hallways. Wait for his teammates and just almost kind of guess where some of these players are located at. Freaky has little to no information besides that maybe these players could be around the reception area. He's got to get activated and create some more space. CSUN are giving a lot of respect to the map, not getting too over egregious with their positioning, and it's working out wonderfully. Dill for 2.
Yeah, this is the problem right now for Newberry. They are trying to get players in on the flank. None of that is actually working. They're trying to get players through the front now. Cells is that guy. Cells is that guy. Picks up 2 now, looking for the third. Dylan is weak. He knows he still has to take this challenge because Cells is in an indomitable position for Newberry. And now KB on an off angle. Going to try and get this point captured in a place where they're not going to expect him to be, and yet manages to catch Torment off guard for the first kill. Now looking for the second. It's going to be Polo in front of him, and Polo wins that 1v1 though. The second take progression now through. Polo not able to survive anymore. I don't think anybody from CSUN is even going to get here in time as long as Newberry capture this point, stack it correctly. Yes, they fly forward, but they are not going to be able to stop that capture from happening. It's offense for offense for offense for offense for offense. But ultimately, Newberry come out on top, and I think I might have just said offense way too many times.
I don't know, man. You just kind of broke my brain just thinking about the amount of times you just said offense in a row. That was, oh, that was an expo control and a half right there, wasn't it, brother? I mean, it just felt like that offense was just really the favorite side to be on. That it really did feel like that every single time that the defensive team found themselves those 3-for-1 trades. Hell, even there in the final few moments for the Matadors, they found the kills required. They were playing in a very trap positioning. But that also comes back to bite them in the rear. It just comes down to a few trades. When you're playing that far back of the A control zone, if you get gunned again, you are spawning in boo-foo. Like, you are nowhere near that control zone, and the stack can come all the way through. And you are just tack sprinting in towards the waiting hands of players holding their irons with ARs in their hands. Now, keep in mind, that position for the Wolves of Newberry College would not have been available if Cells did not do Cells things and just jumps over towards the spa shacks and finds 2, gets that player top restaurant one shot, and just creates so much space for Newberry, specifically KB, to get on the control zone, buy more time for his teammates to come back all the way through, and to be able to win that final few gunfights to keep CSUN at bay and take a 2-1 lead in the series.
Yeah, I think so much of that control was decided by silly little plays, right? And I don't mean that in any disparaging way. I mean that as in, those plays were disgusting. Like, there was a couple of 3-pieces, I think, coming through from Freaky. This one right here coming through from Polo. That was extremely helpful to CSUN, even if it didn't actually win them the game. And, of course, as you just mentioned, their Cells with the play in that final round definitely helped, for sure, for Newberry to come out on top in the end. But such a close control between these two teams. I think that might just be the most textbook close control of Expo I've seen so far. Maybe there's one that's escaping me, like an obvious example, at least that you and I have casted so far this season, mate, but I don't think we've seen something like that in a while.
It's been a long time. I think the last time, as far as my brain is concerned, that we went like all offenses, just 5 straight offenses. Like, I'm pretty sure it was like all the way back at like Frequency, Black Ops 4, maybe. I could be mistaken. It could have been a raid, but back in Cold War, but I don't know. There's been a lot of controls, okay?
It's
a lot of controls to think about. CSUN, I mean, again, they were showing up to absolutely play. I mean, you look from top to bottom, even in this final few moments, right? I mean, both Ruben and Dylan, they're over 30 kills. Dylan was threatening to go up to 40 or so. But it's just shared legwork for Newberry. It's their overall teamwork in the right times to find these gunfights, to take the map positioning away. But again, if you're CSUN, Ken, I don't want to sit here and continuously wag my finger at you, but there was just no reason to play that much respectful around the A control zone. They had 2 segments to play with. Someone's got to get in their face and cause a little bit more distress. Play Mixie inside the restaurant. Wait for a couple of spawn kills. Would have been able to buy some more time for some respawns, perhaps, to come back over. But you just went 3 dead, 4 dead so fast in those final few moments that it allowed Newberry, the opportunity just to strike, get on that zone. All thanks to Cell's 2-piece.
Yeah. And if we're looking over towards the stat lines at the end of the game, well, we've got to put Dylan on hero watch because 38 and 25, 16 objective kills, 28 non-traded kills, and 4.5k damage.
Casual.
Yeah, that's tough for the L. That's unfortunate. That is That is very unfortunate as Newberry do come out on top now, 2-1 up over a CSUN. One more map, and they effectively guarantee themselves at least a survival unless we see like some crazy win coming through from CSUN over St. Clair, which would be just nutty to me. But regardless, right, look over towards the highlights in the search and destroy unfortunately between Rutgers and SIUE. We have no idea how this one turned out, but 4-1 up our SIUE at the moment in the replays. It could be a crazy comeback, who knows?
Yeah, shout out the replay ops team, man. Doing God's work, making sure we don't miss a single look at the action, and even if we can't watch it live, at least we get the replays. 2 rounds in a row for Rutgers. Initial setup over towards the A bomb site finally gets planted as well. Slow-mo. Did he win that? He won that round? What? All right, SIU. Take a 2-0 lead in the series. All right.
Woo! Sigh of relief there for all the SIUE fans out there after map number 1 to take map number 2 like that. They'll be extremely happy. In towards the control on Hotel, though, SIUE want to have a good go of things. They haven't won the first round of play, but that's okay because they weren't on offense, of course. Instead, now they're moving their offense at the start of this one over towards what seems to be a B-heavy play. None of those players actually moved just yet, but as the kill now comes through from Anchor and from D-Day as well, those players are just going to swarm straight on towards B.
Yep, just stack it, hold the angles. No trophy system, though, to keep them safe, so these nades are absolutely hidden. Second segment on the way. Anchor finally gets that trophy system, but he gets beamed from the range. The players to deal with on the zone, and to be fair, Rutgers are still trying to assault this dead control zone, and if you can tell by the canter of my voice, I am not a fan, Brody. I actually hate it, because Rutgers are now in a very terrible position, allowing the Cougars to get a free rotation over towards A.
Yeah, I've actually got a list of things that you don't like. Me is there, and but transitions like that from B towards A is like just a number 2. Yeah, 2 for 2 on that, bud. That we did just see. There has actually been a recovery coming out from Rutgers, though. Somehow, some way, they've managed to make this one happen, trading one out. But SIUE, they do still have control of Kitchen. That means those close spawns are going to be good. That means the kills at the back of it are going to be good as well. And SIUE, I mean, they momentarily lost control of the steering wheel. Now they're right back in the driver's seat and full on the gas pedal, looking to close this one now, looking to get the second compression through, and they will do. Hybrid and Jayhem actually going to provide some resistance, and it felt like a foregone conclusion, but as Slow-Mo and Big Country go down, Rutgers from the edge survive.
I mean, that was just so close from being tacked all the way over. You still have a minute, a 4-life lead to take a single segment at A. A real kitchen control coming through from Rutgers, and I can't blame him just for trying to fly all the way inside the kitchen into the unknown, if you ask me. Ryuga is going to get some assistance there from Chatter over by the pantry. Now it's going to be a pinch. 2 players coming in over by Jules. The majority of this hit from the Cougars, looking to flank around the back. Has not worked out quite yet. 2 for 2 trade.
Haven't dealt with D-Day just yet. The call will be made by Jayhem that, hey, you know, D-Day's coming in on the flank. You guys need to make sure you deal with him. And D-Day, I think at this point you have a choice, right? Do you go back in towards the control zone, excuse me, or do you actually just try and zone players off coming from the spawn? And it has been the latter choice you have to feel for D-Day that he's made in this situation. Big 1v1 against Chatter around the back line. D-Day, his voice is a little bit stronger in this situation. Hybrid, he's going to get overwhelmed inside. It is, reminder, only 1 tick that they need, but Ryuga's going to double up. Is that enough now in the 8 versus 4? I don't necessarily think it is. With 15 seconds left, Rutgers are hoping that they can somehow win this on time. They still might be able to as Anchor and Big Country go down. Anchor going to get a posthumous kill with the trophy system. D-Day going to follow up with another one, and Rutgers just down a Chatter or Ryuga. I don't think they're going to be able to save this unless Chatter comes out with something special, and he doesn't. SIUE, they win it via eliminations, and that's actually much more important on hotel control specifically than you might think.
Yeah, I mean, more often when we see offensive rounds, they typically get tacked over via these segments rather than the kills to come all the way through. Again, that is just coming back to bite Rutgers in the rear end. Would have been helpful to have those 3 respawns that you just threw away trying to get over towards that dead B control zone. We'll give you the updates there as the Cougars and Rutgers march on. We will go back over towards our main focus, the guaranteed map 4, in between Newberry versus CSUN, who are trailing after losing that control and that round 11 hotel search and destroy, looking to push it to a map 5 here on Mercado.
Yeah, and so far, going to be a bit of a mixy game to kick things off here on Mercado Hardpoint. Trades galore going down in towards the alley, but ultimately it is CSUN who win out there. And as we hit the last 20 seconds on the back of this hard point, Newberry, they would be wise to rotate over towards silos for the next hill, or the elephant room, I think, as it has been, I say recently changed. I think it was changed a long while ago. Regardless, though, Newberry, they will be the first team to touch.
First one here. I still call it 10. But I mean, just look at all those cute elephants. They're bricks of snow. Torment's going to be the first person to cross, and all of this assistance is, again, mostly inside of this building. You can't necessarily blame Newberry for playing so turtle, but it allows you to get collapsed like that. Dylan,
wow.
Ruben able to show up in a massive way, so much time to soak here at B3.
Yeah, that is a big hold coming through, or big break, excuse me, coming through from CSUN. That's not how you wanted that to go in for Newberry. Now Newberry have to break back on through, and I don't think they've got the initial ones to do so. Torment going to get tagged up by that early Semtex coming on through. Dylan, though, going to exit the hill momentarily to deal with Diff, and he will very quickly dispatch of him as well. So that back 25 now should be guaranteed for CSUN. A big hard point early on here on Mikado. This rotation needs to be in the hands of Newberry, and, well, the first couple of kills are going to be in their favor. You've got to deal with Dylan as well. He will get that sick kill off screen. Somebody stop Dylan. Finally, they will do, but he does a lot of damage.
I mean, he does a lot of damage, but I mean, he finds 2 kills, and it means nothing. Newberry still have these close spawns. CSUN are still soaking up time over by P3, and it's the right call whether you love it or hate it, because now you know, if you are the Matadors, that the Wolves are playing all the way to the back of the zone. Polo glides across the doors. Diff will finally get traded out. KB inside the hardpoint needs to go big, and he will deliver. The setup so strong for the Wolves.
A little peek there coming through from Ruben. Cautious is the word. Players now starting to aggress on every single side of the hard point, and Ruben, that doesn't help, buddy. You cannot team kill in a situation. Fortunately enough for him, he's able to get a kill. Dylan finds 2, but once again, it is KB who ultimately has the final say here as Newberry looking for the back 25 seconds. Torment will fight for the scrap time, but he's already been tagged from the middle of the map. I don't think he has much chance in that 1 versus 1 versus KB. And now we'll turn our attention towards the rotation once again with 15 seconds left on the barbershop. We're going towards the elephant room just outside for the patio square. Already, it is CSUN who look to touch first. An important moment in the game here as Newberry have come back.
So easy to be able to get as much time as Newberry were able to accrue there on P4. Matador's looking to answer. You got players top and bottom elephant room. This is a defense that is mostly set up around the hard point. Player number 4, Stormy, is going to be watching the long cross, but Newberry looking to break from the big door.
Dylan sitting in the corner. Not going to outplay Freaky there in that scenario as he will double up. Newberry now have the numbers, technically speaking, in a 3 versus 2 on this hill, unless CSUN can respawn and get there in time. They will be soaking up here momentarily. Diff just looking up top, will pick down 1, but CSUN, they're happy with these trades here. Somehow, some way, CSUN have got control. Cells looking to change that. Torment will not allow, though, on 5 in a row now. CSUN still looking for the scrap time. Torment, his job is not done whatsoever. Diff is coming in for the trade. He's looking for it. He knows where it is. It does not matter when Torment is playing like this.
Yeah, no, I mean, great positioning coming through from Torment in this specific life. Again, he was mostly playing through the middle lane, then moved over towards the yellow van, picks up where his teammates fall over by the old hard point, and now he finds himself on 6 in a row with that cruise missile intact. Polo now popping dead silence, looking for more space inside Cantina. Can't come up with the kills. Now Ruben looking to pick up where his teammate unfortunately fell. We'll find one in towards the back, but needs some assistance to fully break this hill. Or does he?
Oh, does he? Does he? Ruben comes through and immediately provides an opening for CSUN to fight their way back in towards this hard point. That opening now needs to be opened up once again. Newberry have fought back. 35 seconds left to fight over here. CSUN want to be careful with the positioning at the moment as KB now finds himself in 5 in a row. Make that 6. That's a streak for KB in the back pocket. And a very good position for Newberry to find themselves through. You're going to see these players now start to swarm around the back alley through the middle of the map for CSUN. They look to garner control over the next hard point. And those first couple of kills should certify it if that one doesn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a big moment coming through from Newberry. Not to mention all the time that they were able to crew over by P4, keeping it scrappy towards the old hill, and especially here at P6. But the rotation over towards P7 is going to be a big one. Dylan on a 3 spree. Not going to expect that there's still a player over at old. To get the information via the game now that he needs to look towards his Cantina balcony. With the setup here, as far as P7 is concerned, it becomes that much more deadlier as Torment spawns over by P5. He pinches it from the middle lane. Dylan picks up over by the back street. CSUN hold on for the initial hit.
Dylan is excrementing everywhere at the moment. 22 and 12. He's having a hell of a game at the moment. Big reason why CSUN have the lead that they do. But now in from behind comes one player who's going to catch at least one off guard. Newberry are looking to force their way through the locker's side. And KB, I mean, there's no real way to splash damage that streak off anything here on the parking lot hard point. But maybe they can get some scrap time. Freaky, a big one to lose there. As CSUN knew they needed control of all the time at the back of this hill. Really is going to make a hell of a difference here in this game. And they will get it. So, going into the second set here, mate, CSUN They've got a pretty commanding lead, but we know Mikado. We know there is an easy path for Newberry to take it right back.
Yeah, things can spiral out of control very fast here on Mercado Las Almas as far as hardpoint is concerned, but that was probably one of the most firm, handshaky set of hardpoints we've ever gotten as far as 7 hardpoints are concerned. 187 to 130 at the end of the first set, just trailing by 50, and Diff is now on a 5 spree. He knows he has to look towards the cuts, is able to get the 6 spree. Is the cruise missile going to be enough? KB already used his, but Newberry's still finding kills around the current hill.
Yeah, the streak, I think, in the forthcoming hills will be a lot more important as well, especially as Newberry are currently in control of the map. If they do lose it momentarily, they can just use a streak to make sure they do hold control of Cantina for that rotation. Players are going to get through. KB just going to outplay Ruben on that moment. Once again, it is all just about making sure you hold this right side of the map. KB knows it as well. And more important, gunfights to be won around the parking lot, and unfortunately, he is parked himself. Newberry now looking for more kills. Around this back alley side, Dylan has slipped the net, and oh, KB! No, Dylan does not finish his food. KB gonna win that one out, and now Newberry with the first to touch.
The first in, and look at the rotation, especially around the hard point as well. Ruben waiting for his teammates. There's a spawn out that occurred. Freaky spawns all the way over inside of Elephant Room, and there's just no way the Matadors would ever expect that to come all the way through. A gifted pinch via the game. Now it comes down to heroics, and somehow Torment gets the weapon swap. It allows Dylan to press on in towards the hard point. That's a break that should never happen, but CSUN make it happen.
It's so integral, isn't it? It absolutely is. Newberry, they thought they'd got the P1, a P2 rotation locked down and a full 100 points or so off the back of it. No, denied. Now CSUN in control and command and control as well. As we hit that 30-second mark, I think Newberry, the players are already here. You might as well go for it, but it's a big gamble to take because you now have a less heavy defense of the rotation as well. KB now looking for the last 20 seconds and does lose the 1 versus Torment. Now we turn our attention towards that rotation we were talking about. Some trades have already gone down in favor of Newberry, but it's Dylan, it's Polo on both sides. Dylan already picks up 2, and just like that, CSUN are in.
Dylan's about to be at 30 and 17. He's on another 4 spree. Torment's there with him as well at 15 and 18. 228 to 180. Newberry needed to maintain numbers. The majority of their players are all coming through the forklift side into the waiting head glitches of Ruben. Freaky was trying to find players through the cuts. Gets cut down himself. 237 counting up.
Oh, what is going on? Dylan on 4, Ruben on 3, Torment on 4 as well. Newberry desperate to try and touch. I don't know if they're even going to get an opportunity to do so. Players from all sides, they're going to go in. Freaky does find his way on through, but he's met by Torment, who does take him down. CSUN, in the last couple of hard points, take commanding lead of the game and swapped Newberry away. And it is absolutely that penultimate hard point that decides it.
Yeah, again, I mean, it was like 180, 130 going in towards the second set. Again, we were getting full 50s, closer to 60s, and we were further away for 2 different teams there in the first set. But like we were talking about going through Mercado Las Almas, it is very easy to spiral out of control by way of just sheer raw aggression, specifically from your SMGs. But it's also got to be said about the supporting staff. We'll talk about the stats here in a second because Dylan absolutely just went godlike throughout Mercado Las Almas with the Vaznev in hand. But the rest of his teammates were right in the right place, at always seemingly at the right times. Our ARs, the long lines of sight, all these crosses being held, maintained, allowed Dylan to continuously go unnoticed. It really did feel like, and although Newberry were dealing with it marginally throughout the first set, in the second set, it just felt like the dog was let off the leash, and CSUN's Dylan was just unstoppable.
Yeah, I feel like if Dylan doesn't do that, that game, we don't see him at 5. To be honest, the amount of times we saw heroics coming out from Dylan, especially in those last couple of hard points, is just nutty. He was going on a serious tear. Of course, Torment did have that moment there on that 6 spree, which gave CSUN a lot of time, which obviously ended up helping win the game ultimately. But Newberry just could not deal with Dylan. It was absolutely disgusting watching him play the game. It is worth saying, to be fair, there were streaks coming out from Newberry. We saw, I think, a Diff and KB go on separate sprees, which did help Newberry keep it relatively close. But again, just outclassed by Dylan ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately so. Even getting a couple of streaks for Newberry just had no answer, really. I mean, Dylan was just... We can continuously give this guy some flowers, but I mean, as we go through the second set, this is where things started to kick all the way off. Newberry were starting off super hot for themselves, but then you started having some isolated engagements coming your way for CSUN that was just giving them so much space. Torment heated up. That 2-piece comes through. Dylan for the follow-up for that breakover by P2. And I don't think that Newberry were necessarily expecting that. And from there on out, CSUN just completely took over the middle of the map, forced Newberry to have to funnel all the way through the forklift side to break through the big door. Is no easy feat when you get that elephant room locked in. the way the Matadors had it for themselves. CSUN able to win both the hard points so far. Lost the control, lost the map number 2. Now set themselves up for map 5. 29 and 17 for Dylan with 3,200 damage. He led the lobby, not only in KD, but for damage. 23 of those 29 kills were non-traded, by the way. All with a Vaznev in hand. I mean, there had to have been a couple moments. Yeah, he got a couple kills with a attack that he found off the ground. But the majority of that was all with the Vaznev, baby.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those situations where Dylan's doing that inside the hill as well a lot of the time. He's got 1 minute, 5 seconds inside the hard point. The rest of the team, not that far off. I mean, he's got the second most time of anybody on the team, 29-17, as you say. What else is there to say about CSUN in that game? Dylan just did absolutely everything at 250 to 180. Again, it's a map that we expected CSUN to win, and they do. So we're going to a game number 5 in, again, what we cannot stress enough is a very important series. It is effectively for survival unless one of them can upset St. Clair. But here's a look over towards SIUE versus Rutgers in the remainder of that control, which we've got a good look at. And it felt like SIUE at least were in control of that round number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly looking that way, right? 15 and 8 here for D-Day. He's having himself a day. And this is towards the end of that round where we saw SIUE just clutch up, especially all the way through the kills, again, not ending via segments. But here is where we left off between the Cougars and Rutgers. Was another offensive attempt that was coming through from Rutgers, down to a minute. They're at least stalling out the clock, finding kills. They forced D-Day's hand, especially for the crews this early. And finds absolutely nothing. But they're still whittling down the clock, Brody. It's very, I don't know, it's always entertaining to me because, like, I could easily just go spoil myself. I can go look at the stat sheet and I can tell you who won this map. But this is more fun.
Yeah, this is fun. We just don't know at all. It's always nice to be like, hey, it's a surprise. We don't know what's going on. But SIUE, yeah, they've just done it. Yeah, just done it. Just getting rid of the players coming off the spawn. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. SIUE are going to win that map. And coming out on top over Rutgers, a big victory for them. Again,
you want to set the pace, especially in that group number 3, right? Again, it is Rutgers, the Cougars of SIUE, and the Hilltoppers from St. Edwards. Probably would assume, especially for St. Edwards in most recency, especially through Modern Warfare 2 in the regular season at that, even through playoffs, that they're probably the #1 team within that group. But the Cougars are looking pretty good on the day. They still have an uphill battle to take #1 seed from that group when they do inevitably face the Hilltoppers.
Well, indeed. Well, that's one match down. We've got Newberry in Esports and CSUN Esports to conclude as well, though. We're going to a Game 5 to get it done, but who will win? Find out after the break. Alrighty, well, we promised a Game 5 between Newberry and CSUN. Guess what we're going to do, folks? We're going to deliver on that promise and then some. Well, not then some. We're just giving you the Game 5. But it's going to be a good Game 5. We can't wait to get into it. My name's Infinity. Joining me on the guest here is Proper. Andy, mate. Who's going to win?
Well, I just couldn't tell you. I mean, that Hotel Search and Destroy is the only thing that we really have to go off of. Went to a round 11 where Newberry were slowly downloading CSUN, who are offering up the same offense after offense. This map mode combination didn't exactly work well for Newberry when they've played off against the Saints. They lost that 6-3, and Dylan is just playing with his food. We'll give Freaky the angle for a 3rd time. Freaky will find that first blood, and KB will lay the rock down.
I think he played with his food and then threw the food out the window. I think that's the best way to describe that particular engagement. There's a trade coming through, though, from Ruben. Just a little bit too late to stop the bomb from going down. This post plant has to be fast and furious. Hello, going to do exactly the opposite of that. Jump up! He gets it. Okay. CSUN now looking to get control of munitions. Diff around the backline, cells up top. Those are the players you're going to be contesting with. There's cells down. Diff, though, this is the power position that you're always going to be concerned about. Freaky around the backline has gone down, but Diff has the power position now. 87 HP to his name. Can he get the kill against Polo? No, Polo with a jump up, but he doesn't have enough time, and that's the problem with dealing with those players around the backline. You have to make sure you do it with haste.
Yeah, again, you have to just essentially be flying. It's also round 1, don't forget. So, I mean, Polo didn't have dead silence just not even for a few seconds ago. And if you don't have that just to fly around the streets as an SMG player, you don't necessarily have the confidence just to fly through the streets where ARs are just holding their irons. You don't know what's going on inside of Art, especially. And that's just how important that was for Freaky to be able to get that snipe. Now, to be fair, I mean, Dylan gave him like 3 different looks as far as getting that centering correctly. Finally gets the headshot. KB plants the bomb. And with only just 45 seconds, you really do have to kind of get your trainers on and get across that back street side. So big first round win here for Newberry. Now it's the Matador's turn for an offense.
How about this aggression coming out from Newberry? KB pushing all the way down bottom up. Doing a whole Picasso on Ruben. Now looking for anything to follow that up with. CSUN, I mean, it's them. You have to make the move now. And Freaky, well, he's just going to get a snipe through the stage. Oh, what a response. I mean, I don't think you could see it from the smoke. Dylan, give us something else. Give us something snazzy for the 1v3.
He's looking for the fast net. He's going to pick it up. He knows that Cells is here, and he has the read around the back. Is he going to expect the side door? Did he not hear that door just pop right open? Okay. 1v2. Could be the entire ace for Dylan. He gets stunned up twice on over. The biggest issue here, Brody, is that he's running out of time. He still has to somehow find the timing to plant this bomb. Chows KB like that. Gets the kill. Diff needs to get the trade. And I thought the quickscope was on the cards. Would have made Marco super proud if he found it for the ace. Not going to be the case at all. Newberry maintain a round stabilization in the round 2 win at that.
Dude, after Dylan's antics on Mikado hardpoint, I don't think that's allowed. To be honest, is making that 1 versus 4 possible. I don't think it's even close to happening if he doesn't get that fast F off the ground, which of course definitely helps because the sniper rifle, you know, kind of tough to work with in a number of different situations. But regardless, 1 versus 4 denied. Newberry starting strong here in the search and destroy over 2-0 lead. Can they keep it? It's the question. CSUN relying once again on the early snipes. Dylan going to slap the ground with the first bullet, going to slap the air with the second. Now time to slap Freaky with the third? Question mark?
Should have at least seen a few of these players cross. Trophy systems late, and it's going to be at the front. KB goes down via Semtex from Dylan, and now he can just go back to this all-out poke affair. He sees him. Freaky sees him through the crack as well. He will find that kill, but it'll be the last alive. He's giving himself a good look at it, but again, had to be a phase-up type of montage. Not going to be coming through. CSUN take round number 3.
Dude, what is going on today, bud? What is going on? Like, the snipes that we've seen, like, they're getting confident. I don't blame Freaky for what we've seen today thus far from him, but yeah. So if it's not Freaky, it's Dylan. These guys are absolutely deadly with those sniper rifles, and taking out Dylan from that power position was pivotal to winning the round there for CSUN and getting themselves on the border. Excuse me, Dylan surviving. Regardless, though, CSUN now looking to get a second round on the board here. We're going to grab that bomb and send it straight towards A. Trade's going down immediately as it's going to be a double up from Newberry on bottom up.
Now in this 3v3, certain lack of information where a lot of these players are located at. Ruben's almost expecting for a player to do this top boat jump push. Got an audio cue. Knows that KB's top maps a little bit too quick on the trigger. Dylan's still trying to fish out this pick. Can only imagine that he is looking for none other than Freaky. He's doing a couple jump shots over by the open archway. Not gonna be able to come up with much of anything as well. Now just under a minute. CSUN trying to get themselves over towards A.
These snipes again. Freaky gonna back away here. Dylan down to his last 2 bullets. The first one's gonna connect, but it goes through the pole of the gallows. That is unfortunate. Doesn't matter though, the coverage is good to get the bomb down. So now 3 versus 3. Once again, it does feel like Dylan versus Freaky is the story of this retake. KB attempts to jump up towards doubles and it's denied by Torment, who could still do a fair bit more damage if they don't locate him soon enough. He's activated the dead silence. They certainly can't hear where he's located. He's just going to reposition. Finally, there you go. Dylan down for the count. Would you believe it? Yet another snipe off, this time in favor of Freaky. But time quickly dwindling down in this round. Freaky probably wants to find a better weapon for this play and also needs to locate these players. There's another one right on the other side of the door. Goes to the knife. And, oh, we've seen so many of those knives come through. Now just looking for a defense of this site. Diff will manage to, Diff will fall. CSUN going to win out. But what on earth was that?
I mean, that was just weird. I have a lot of questions as far as running a knife as your secondary for the sniper. If that is the case for that, you probably want to attach a pistol. And probably the reason why we saw him trying to clear everything with a sniper. But regardless, just interesting how it kept on going back and forth. We traded off first blood, immediately traded out 3v3. Not a whole lot of space was gained. CSUN trying to work their way back over towards the 8 bomb. Trade still coming through, but the bomb's still able to go down. 2 rounds in a row for the Matadors. Newberry trying to get over towards A very quickly, but it's being watched by 2 different players.
CSUN once again reliant on coverage of Dylan. from open. Freaky looking for something over by closed. Diff up top needs to hold on towards top munitions, and none of those shots will connect onto Polo. It doesn't matter anyway. Polo sent away and just comes straight back up. Elsewhere, Dylan has won the sniper battle in this round on towards Freaky, so that should slow things up.
Dylan just doesn't have to move here. Has to trust that his teammates are going to watch that top single area, which they are currently. Also picks up a Vaznev from Polo's dead corpse. Looking to make moves with it as well. Has Death Silence to boot, and I love this call.
Dylan's actually got to convert something here, though. Did he just get seen by Diff on the watch? I don't think
I
he did. I don't think Diff's in a position. And Dylan, you know, he didn't need to switch to the sniper rifle to make that happen. But Dylan's got style in troves. Not for the fast step for the third. Diff will deny. But nonetheless, Diff is in a tough spot here. A 1 versus 2. I don't think this is in the realms of possibility, to be honest. No chance. Dylan is just that guy.
Dude. What? I mean, again, he didn't have to switch to the sniper, but it was cool that he did. Guarantees the one-shot kill. Just had to drag it down a little bit. And goodness me, has he been moving a little bit differently in the past few maps. Now up to 7-5. The majority of these kills are all via the sniper rifle. 3 rounds in a row for the Matadors now. Cells has yet to find a kill, uncharacteristic of him so far, especially on this fine day. Bomb being forgotten in spawn. Dylan's not going to be the one to pick it up. You know he wants to snipe.
So many of these rounds have been decided by who wins that snipe off between Dylan and Freaky. Dylan's won more trades overall. How much is for sure? And Freaky's just seen him. He's got an idea at least as to where he is. Regardless, it doesn't make a difference. Dylan does enough there to stop to make sure the bomb does go down. Freaky's not going to get anything now. He's just going to have to back away. He's already been tagged up by a nade. It's okay though because his teammates elsewhere have helped out.
Team kill does come through on a KB. Puts it in it with 2v3. That bomb is still planted, by the way, taking all the way down. And they are double chowing the player over by Streets. That should be immediately communicated to. Cells finally gets on the board. Polo pops that sounds, has to come check it. And Cells was just holding the angle. Tough call to make. Coming through from 2 players of the Matadors, but even more important for Newberry, instead of just getting too big for their bridges to have one player hop on the bomb, they maintained the angles, waited for the reach out to come through because they knew that Matadors had to come check that bomb from being defused. Finally stopped the bleeding. Even in the round count back up.
Again, so back and forth. Cells is on the board as well. I think he was 0-5 going into this round, I believe.
Yep.
So picking up 2 kills in that round. Huge to getting yourself. It wasn't KB this time, bud. It started off with a donut. Instead, he is actually contributing quite a lot. And this is actually quite even across the board. Look at Newberry. 5-5, 5-5, 5-5. Goodness me. Like an MTG.
Well, sharing the legwork.
Stun this one. Push over by bottom mark. Polo going to throw a stun out. That will connect, but Freaky's nade should be enough to keep him alive.
Still trying to create a little bit more space. Polo has to be careful here. Again, there's a certain lack of information that's on the other side of that door. Love this call coming through from the Wolves, though. They completely can see the space. Trying to find a little bit more action through the top load area, but the nade's going to keep that player honest for now. Still yet to have a player fall. 54 seconds remain.
First blood finally going in the way of Torment. Polo going to follow up with another one as well. What Newberry had in terms of bomb site control has fallen between the cracks. Freaky now looking to get something, and oh, it would have been lovely if he could get away, but he will not. And now Diff, I don't think sure at all that he wants to go for this bomb, because you always have that kind of feeling at the back of your head that as soon as you do, you will die. And it's the right call to make to not do so just yet. But time is quickly slipping away in this round for you to actually have that choice whatsoever. Instead, he gets aggressive for one of those final 2 gunfights and will not win. CSUN sticking their nose out in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, just getting the damage early confirms all the information that at that point, you just have to keep throwing a couple shoulders, trust that there's players inside the double arches to make sure that nobody's getting in over towards that A-bomb site. You can keep Gallows clear, just hold your angles, and that's exactly what the Matadors did. Made sure that their flank was secure as well, because KB has been trying to exploit that almost a handful of rounds in a row now. Not allowing Newberry to continue to build momentum. This 1-round lead. Offense again for the Matadors for getting that bomb and spawn. Dylan sprinting for this first one.
Yeah, this is very aggressive. Oh, Dylan! Somehow, even with Freaky getting aggressive, Dylan still wins the initial one. Goodness me. Newberry now at a disadvantage here, and they have to rely on some kind of crazy play around the back line, maybe plays around the front, because this bomb's going down.
Bomb is being planted. Dylan's overwatching it as well. Some wallbang shots are coming through. Torment's there to at least watch it, but they still lose Polo, and the bomb was not completed. The detonator has not been laid all the way down, and KB is able to find a second. 2v3.
Oh, Dylan, he gets a shot. It does connect, but it connects through the door, so that's not enough for a kill. Now Dylan, back to his devious ways, looking for a fast F or something off the ground. And did he find it? Yeah? Yeah, I don't even know at this point, to be honest. There's a lot of weapon switching going on there. Regardless, KB does go down. So now for Ruben and Dylan, this is a lot more comfortable cells. Does he catch him off guard, though? That's the question. No, he doesn't. No dead silence to work with in this situation. He's just crab walking around the map, and CSUN now have some distance so required.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was just interesting to say the least, how CSUN were able to even walk away with that. It mostly just came through from Newberry, just enabling themselves to stay alive, finding those kills, just bobbing and weaving in between those doorways. And most importantly, finding that kill on Apollo, that was difficult. Not only to be able to find that kill for that player to stay alive, because it looked like just off the minimap alone, that Torment at least had the angle. It's really tough to see as we were watching and just patiently waiting for Dylan to find yet another kill. 2-round lead. CSUN looking to close things out here.
And that first blood, once again, for the third time in a row, will go their way. And that makes things hard for Newberry because, again, their task to get the bomb down is entirely reliant on A, getting to the bomb, and then B, actually planting the thing. And those things have been really hard to do in the last two offensive efforts for them. AB just not in a position to get it done whatsoever. Maybe they can find something. Freaky once again going to find himself in a 1 versus 1. This time against Polo, but AB goes down, top single. And Freaky, I mean, he's reliant on trying to draw something out. Oh.
It's also being called in. Keep in mind, Cells, Freaky able to find 2 kills. And, well, now the cruise missile coming through from Ruben is not going to find much of anything. Just 2 dead comrades. Dylan knows it would look inside of the arch. Not going to be able to find the player inside of the doorway, though. Has to reposition.
Yeah, time of the essence here in the plate. Newberry, you don't have time to be cautious. And Ruben has now passed the information to Dylan that, hey, they're trying to get the bomb down. Dylan is going to work on that with this flank. And the bomb is going to be planted actually for Ruben's side. So Dylan might not be able to stop it. The shots are going through. There you go. Post plant kill coming through on towards Cells. And now Freaky stuck between these 2 players. Knows exactly where Ruben is located. And now, would you believe it? It's a 1v1 between Freaky and Dylan. So much of this S&D has been sided by these 2 players. And now Freaky just going to have to back away from the play. On the heady of the middle of the map. Freaky, you've got to finish the fight. The knife comes out to run towards the player. But Newberry, they survive.
It's just interesting. The way that you have to force out that challenge, knowing where the last player was located at. Freaky was 1 shot. And Dylan's going to see that at the end as well. He had so many good looks. It's just so how tough that head glitch is underneath the horse statue. Newberry stay alive in the search and destroy, which was a very interesting and shaky opening. You're at a combined 20 and 12 in between Ruben and Dylan, and it's still not enough to put the Wolves to rest. You invested the cruise missile. You lost 2 teammates in the opening rip. What do you do here? Worked out so far for the Matadors. Dylan rushes over for this pick. He's going to get stunned up. Doesn't have a sniper this time, though, Brody.
Now, these guys, I think they're changing up tack a little bit here. Try and throw each other off. It seems like a really good strategy, actually, from CSUN to just leave the bomb in spawn. I love that strategy. Seen it a lot. Works out most of the time. And I think Diff might well have seen it because he's just waiting now. Gonna have to back away, actually. You can see that on the minimap. The Diff has actually just backed away from that gunfight, but it's okay because he finds a kill anyway.
Before. I'm very close to being laid down. Dylan has to down the cover fire. Cells again, takes down Polo. The trade is in. You have Torment that is currently inside of munitions. And Dylan's looking to press this forward. He has the bomb.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. And why would you? It's such an audacious play. Dylan, he's seen one. And you know where Freaky is located here. Dylan has just flipped this tire around on his head. And he's going to do it again. Dylan, what is that? And you know what? Since you've got the kill, you might as well just go to B.
Oh, might as well. KB is nowhere to be found. He utilized his dead silence to get in this position, Brody. He's going to be late. Has double utility to use with. Able to find some opening shots, but Torment is there for the assistance. And oh my Dylan. That is just, again, an egregious play. It works out in the end, just to push all the way through the closed arches, to find the kill onto the first, reposition to find the second on the player playing in the open stair head glitch. And then just the understanding, whether Torment heard some information from KB around the back or not, just to say B is wide open. It is looking pretty tasty this time of year, as CSUN will close the door on the Wolves. They will not get a series win in group number 4. They will be 0-2. They are the guaranteed number 3 team in that group.
Yeah, no, there's no permutations here, mate, in CCL for Newberry to get out of the group. Nothing you can do now, because you played your games, buds, and you've lost both of them. The second one in much more close fashion, that final search and destroy as well. So many rounds that really could have just gone either way. So many rounds decided by the heroics of Dylan. I just cannot believe, especially after the Mikado hardpoint, which was incredible from Dylan. I can't remember how many, I think it was like 38 or something silly like that. It was a crazy amount of kills that he got in that hardpoint. To come out and do that in this search and destroy, just so many of these rounds. It's astonishing how many of those rounds were decided by the early snipes between, I think, the first 7 or 8 between Freaky and Dylan, and then towards the end when they started putting them away, it still somehow turned out as Freaky and Dylan were the playmakers. It
just felt like that in that opening round, where like Dylan throws the same shoulder like 3, maybe 4 times to Freaky, and he gets shot, that something awoke, like some laser eyes, some like anime type of laser eyes happened in between these two players, in between Dylan and Freaky, and Dylan just wanted to really put Freaky on skates through a lot of these different rounds. So the decision making coming through, top fragging, coverage giving to his teammates, albeit maybe besides Polo, who died twice, I want to say maybe 3 times trying to plant the bomb while Dylan was trying to overwatch him. But I mean, Dylan was just having himself an absolute field day here in the Fortress Search and Destroy, and the Mercado hardpoint as well. Let's not forget, this guy almost dropped 40 on the Wolves' head, so this guy just came to life when it mattered most.
He is just that guy. I think he'll be walking away from this series with a huge smile on his face, right? It's like, yep, we've done what we need to do to survive. But as we say, you know, this is ultimately the LAN qualifiers. The job is far from over for Dylan and the rest of the CSUN team, as they still, I believe, have to face St. Clair next. That's not going to be an easy match whatsoever, especially as they already saw what St. Clair did to Newberry earlier on.
Yep, exactly that. We're missing one player, at least from Newberry. Don't necessarily blame them, but shame on you. I want my stats. I want to talk about numbers. And we can definitely do just that. Ruben Dylan, a combined 22 kills for them, 5 and 8 for Polo, 8 and 6 for Torment. It was just giving as much cover fire as possible. Polo had the tough shtick, I will say that much, of being the OBJ player, as Dylan was just overwatching him with a sniper rifle. It was really Cells that was starting to show up late there for Newberry, that you felt like that if Cells doesn't have that slow start, this could very much so be a different outcome as far as Map 5 is concerned.